What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the numbers and welcome to Stat Diggers for UFC 312. We have Dricus du Plessis going against Sean Strickland 2. And yeah, pay-per-view card here. And I'm actually looking forward to this one. So a lot of people are crapping on it. I think they have like Junior Tafa on the pay-per-view, Tallison, Teixeira. I think they also have Jimmy Crute on the pay-per-view, Rodolfo Bellato. But I looked into these fights, and I think there's going to be a lot of fun fights. I think there's going to be a lot of violence on this card as well. So yeah, looking forward to breaking it all down here on a Sunday. I am here, as always, with everybody's favorite uncle, Uncle Weezy. What is up? Are you looking forward to UFC 312? On paper, maybe not the best pay-per-view card, but I think these fights are going to play out very, very fun.
Yeah, these are good fights, and when you're in Australia, you don't have the deepest bench in terms of the fighters that you're going to go to, because you're not going to fly somebody out from Brazil and somebody out from Europe to fight in Australia. So you've got the Australian fighters to work with, and that's why you're getting Justin Tafa on a pay-per-view card. You're getting Jimmy Crute, who just retired after his last fight, on a pay-per-view card. You're also getting Jake Matthews on a pay-per-view card. So yeah, that's not really all that exciting, but I just said we weren't going to fly people out from two other countries to fight here, but we got Zhang Wei Li going up against Tatiana Suarez. So I guess I lied about that, but the main card isn't great for pay-per-view names, but you're getting du Plessis versus Strickland, and you're getting Tatiana Suarez fighting against probably the greatest strawweight now, in terms of the history of the division in Zhang. So it's a great fight there. And yeah, these prelims are very exciting. There's a lot of interesting names here. We get the debut of Ilya's little brother, Alexandre. Got the repeat of Wang Cong here. We got Tom Nolan on this card, Jack Jenkins. There's going to be some good fights. So I'm looking forward to breaking it down with you.
Yeah, looking forward to it as always. Before we get into, if you guys could like the video, subscribe to the channel. We go live every Sunday, 7:15 p.m. Eastern time. I do want to do a recap of last night, and then we'll get into the chat here. I see you guys. What is up? All right, let's recap last night. So for me, it's a kind of a frustrating card because I laid chalk on two spots. They both came through. I had 1.25 units on Terrence McKinney, Damir Hadzovic. Fight won't start round 2, and that hit with flying colors. You could tell within the first 10 seconds that fight was going under. So I think that's 11 fights now in the UFC for Terrence McKinney. All 11 fights have went under 1.5 rounds. It is the gift that just keeps on giving. So hopefully a lot of you took advantage of that under. It was like minus 225 at one point, and like I said, the first 10 seconds, it's like this fight's not getting extended. With that said, though, just recently, I came out publicly and apologized to Jason Herzog, right? I bought a Jason Herzog t-shirt, but what was up? What was up with that stoppage, Herzog? Did you see the McKinney Hadzovic fight?
No, actually, I didn't. I didn't wake up until like 4 or 5 fights into the card, so I missed that one.
It was bad. It was very bad. First of all, Terrence McKinney came out spamming head kicks, landed a couple. Hurts Hadzovic very badly on the feet. Hadzovic shoots in for a takedown. McKinney attempts a guillotine, ends up on top, and then just starts pounding the crap out of him. I think he landed 69 total strikes in the span of like 2 minutes. So Hadzovic ends up, flattened out, covering up, and I swear it's like 30, 40 consecutive unanswered shots. Herzog's like, move, fighter! And then he finally stops the fight. I thought McKinney was going to stop trying to get him out of there, and I thought it was going to go over somehow. But yeah, shout out to Herzog for that very, very questionable stoppage. I mean, that was very bad. So, hit the fight won't start round 2, but I also had Terrence McKinney to win by first round submission, and it was right there. Hadzovic shot in on McKinney, and I'm like, yes! It had that deep guillotine, and then Hadzovic somehow gets out, McKinney gets on top, and then instead of subbing him, he pounds him out. So didn't hate the bet there. The other bet that I laid chalk on was, and this is my favorite bet of the week, it was Michael Page plus 3.5 point spread at minus 150. that line was like minus 250, 260 on Bet Online. On DraftKings, like minus 150. And I'm like, whoa, I like that. So I put 1.5 units on that, and that just came through with flying colors. The Page money line came through with flying colors. I did not expect it to look that easy, to be honest. I expected it to be a razor thin, close type of fight, split decision type of fight that could have went either way. But that was absolutely not the case. Michael Page completely outclassed Shara across 15 minutes, made it look very easy. So that came through. And then I took a shot on a bunch of big plus money props. And I don't hate a ton of these bets. So I had the Mara Bueno Silva submission prop at plus 700. I thought that was her main win condition. And she had a very, very tight guillotine in the first round. Jasmine shot in. She snatched up the neck, but Jasmine did really good and got out of it, fought the hands, and ended up on top. And then I also had Jasmine round 2, round 3, and I thought these were extremely live. And honestly, I'm not sure how, these didn't come through. I thought Jasmine really let Mara Bueno Silva off the hook. Mara Bueno Silva was completely done. She was begging for the door, begging to be finished. Jasmine got into advantageous positions at the in the third round, was raining down ground and pound, and then she even has a fully locked in head and arm choke and just lets it go for some reason. And like I said, Bueno Silva is completely gassed. I don't know how that third round didn't hit, and it was plus 2,000, so that sucked. That was very close, and another value loser there. I had another value loser. I had Muhammad Naimov by knockout at plus 255. He drops awfully in the first round. He wobbles him in the second, and then he gets full mount in the third. No finish. That fight goes the distance, which I actually thought the fight doesn't go as a good look in that fight. But yeah, that fight goes the distance, and I lose out on my knockout prop. And my next value loser of the night was Mike Davis by submission at plus 550, I think 575 maybe. And geez, did you see the Mike Davis fight?
No, I was running an errand for that fight too, so I missed that one.
You should have seen what Mike Davis did to Faraz Ziam's knee. I mean, I don't know how. Like, my knee still hurts just from watching that. So yeah, but Faraz Ziam didn't tap and his knee didn't snap. So Mike Davis submission does not come through. With that said, though, geez, Mike Davis really tried to hit that submission prop. I think he might have even bet it himself, Weezy, because Mike Davis pulled guard within the first 10 seconds of the fight.
That's wild. I when you told me that, I was like, what are you talking about? That makes no sense, but maybe he was a little banged up or something.
Yeah, that's what I thought. As soon as he pulled guard, I was like, oh, Davis is hurt, because it was already in the back of my head. And then I guess he came out after the fight saying, yeah, he was hurt, and a bunch of excuses, but yeah, I kind of thought that's what happened. But yeah, Davis tried for that submission prop. So thus far, not too upset with my bets, but what I am upset with is this next bet. 0.75 units on Sadner Magomedov to win the fight inside the distance. Oh, I mean, he landed some very big shots in the first round. I don't know what Vinicius Oliveira's chin is made of, because he ate some flush head kicks. He ate a flush spinning back fist. So Oliveira was able to survive the full 3, and somehow the fight in general went the full 3. That was another fight where I was kind of targeting the fight doesn't go to decision potentially. Ended up just playing Sadner Magomedov inside the distance at plus 275, beat the line by almost a full $1, and it really wasn't that close. That was probably my worst bet of the card. Overall, down 1.73, but yeah, if Jasmine finishes a gassed out Mara Bueno Silva in the third round, I'm up 4 units. If McKenny submits Damir Hadzovic in the first round, it's a winning night. If Muhammad Naimov knocks out Awfully, it's a winning night. If Mike Davis taps out Zion, it's a winning night. So yeah, just a lot of close calls last night. But at least the plays I laid chalk on came through, so it wasn't as bad as it really could have been. Weezy, how was your UFC Saudi Arabia experience?
Well, I had no close calls, Brady. I just got rinsed. Good, plain and simple, got rinsed out there. The ass shaving of the week was Said Nurmagomedov, and yeah, he gassed out after about 7.5 minutes and had nothing left. So I lost 3 units on his money line. I lost 1 unit on the Mara Bueno Silva money line, which I got at plus 215. It was something where I kind of had my finger on the trigger all week. I thought that she could win the striking exchanges, and I thought that she could put Jasmine potentially into some bad spots on the ground. But I also bet the fight doesn't go to decision for that fight. So I was just hoping at I realized when I made both of those bets, I'm like, man, if Jasmine wins by decision, I'm out 2 units, but I was willing to take that chance because, I kind of felt like Jasmine could get a late finish and from what I heard, she was very close to doing exactly that. And obviously, Mayra Bueno Silva hits hard on the feet, and Jasmine has always been very hittable. And the submission game of MBS has always been good. So took those shots. None of them worked out. I had a unit and a half on the Nurmagomedov Oliveira under 2.5 rounds. I got it at plus 155, beat a ton of line movement. And yeah, they just, nobody got a finish there. I had fight doesn't go to decision for Naimov versus Offley. They definitely had chances. We had knockdowns in that fights. We had people getting to, their opponents' backs, but nobody gets a finish. And then I added a quarter unit late on Nurmagomedov by KO. My betting models absolutely loved that. And yeah, he was landing huge shots. But Vinicius de Oliveira, I just want to say this. Look, I faded him against Ricky Simon. I faded him here against Said Nurmagomedov. This dude is on fire right now. He fought really well. I thought he fought really smart. He was putting the pressure on Said right off the bat. And for a guy that throws a lot of spinning kicks and throws a lot of kicks, period, you don't want to give guys like that space. And he did that. He pressured him. He got him tired, and he broke him down in the second half of that fight. So even though I really thought Said was going to be a lot better than Vinicius everywhere, he wasn't. Vinicius was better than him everywhere, and the volume and the conditioning and the pressure that he put on Said wound up winning him that fight, and he fought really good. So yeah, all that was like something like almost 8 units in losses, and my only win was my dog pick of the week, and that was Michael Venom Page. Got him at plus 170, only bet him for 1 unit, but that was a line that was just completely ridiculous. Nobody's ever looked minus 200 against Michael Venom Page in a striking match, period. And you always have to grapple him if you're going to wind up beating him. So to have a guy that couldn't grapple his way out of a paper bag with one eye and 46% striking defense is a minus 200 favorite against the much better striker, the much faster guy in Page. That was a joke. I can't believe I didn't bet more on that. But yeah, 1.7 units there. But yeah, down 6.05 units. Very depressing because 3 violence bets that I felt like, I should have hit at least one of those.
All those were great bets, Wheezy. All 3 of those violence bets I thought were great bets.
Yeah, and I beat a ton of line movement on a couple of them too, and it just and they got to spots where they could finish the fight, but yeah, they just didn't get the job done. But Said Nurmagomedov, like that fight cost me 4.75 units. That my faith in Said really, really cost me there. And when he was on an over 1 year layoff, fighting a younger guy with really good conditioning, but I thought that he was a much better mixed martial artist than Vinicius, and now I've got a completely different opinion of Said because that was a dog shit performance. I mean, no, really, dude, he's 7-2 in the UFC, Brady. Yeah. He could be 8-1 easily. I think that this guy is probably has top 10 talent, and then you go out there and you gas out after 7 minutes. That's pathetic. You're a bantamweight. This isn't a sloppy heavyweight fight where he didn't know that he was going to be grappling. I mean, you gas out after 7 minutes and you think you're going to be a top 15 fighter as a bantamweight in the UFC. That's it. That's a massive red flag. And the guy didn't even show up for over a year too. So he might've been hurt. I don't know what happened there, and I heard Vinicius was hurt. Did I hear correctly there?
He was hurt. He had something going on.
So you're fighting an injured guy and you gas after 7 minutes. I mean, it was a bad performance by Said there.
Yes, terrible. One of the worst displays of cardio I've seen since maybe the Rodolfo Vieira fight. I mean, that was bad. Just kind of fell off a cliff, the cardio. But Wheezy, we got to give you props. You won the bet that matters. Me and Wheezy, we had a side bet, and the side bet was, I picked Jamal Pogues, he picked Hamdi Abdelwahab, and the side bet was if Jamal Pogues wins the fight, Wheezy has to put on 60 pounds of body fat within the span of a couple months. And if Hamdi Abdelwahab wins the fight, I have to do all the steroids. And shout out to Hamdi. He got it done. Yeah, I woke up early to watch the fight, and it was horrible. It was a terrible fight. Hamdi did get a nice takedown in the first round, but he only attempted one takedown the entire fight. He got outlanded 22-11 in the first, 22-12 in the second, and then 25-21 in the third. I scored it 29-28 for Pogues. I gave Hamdi the first round. I gave Jamal the second and third, but the judges thought differently. One judge actually gave a 30-27 to Jamal Pogues, which I thought was pretty weird, but the other two judges had it 29-28 for Hamdi. I lose, and therefore I have to take all the steroids. All of them.
I can't believe it, Brady, because I still haven't seen the fight, and I don't know if I ever will watch it. I don't, from what I heard, it's not the kind of fight you have to go back and watch, from even as an MMA fan, but yeah, that is, yeah, I mean, we didn't even have any money on the fight. That's hilarious. Like, we made a life-changing bet on a fight that we weren't even willing to put one unit on between the two of us. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, Hamdi Abdelwahab, definitely a plus EV athlete. Egypt, stand up. It's a big day. They're dancing in the streets of Cairo right now, still, Brady. I'm telling you. So yeah, it was a big win for Hamdi. A win for Hamdi. And yeah, Jamal, I heard Jamal just got really, really robbed there, man. Really robbed.
It was rough. And nobody really cares, I don't think, because the fight was so bad. So I think we all can just move on. Like, nobody's gonna make too much of a case. But yeah, it was a rough fight. It was a terrible fight. But yeah, now I got to do all the steroids. And then last thing I want to shout out is Avery Marino. We did the Avery Marino parlay of the week, and it was Terrence McKinney under 1.5 rounds, -225. That was my leg I picked. And Weezy, you took the over 2.5 rounds in the Michael Page Shara fight, and both those could not have looked any more easy.
Yeah, that one cashed again. Overs in Shara fights because he's got a head like a cannonball. And you're not. It's not like you're knocking out Page because you'd have to hit him in order to be able to do that. It's so hard to do that. The guy takes no damage. It's crazy. And then obviously an under in a Terrence McKinney fight. If it would have went over, it would have been hilarious. But yeah, and then I just saw Evan say in the chat that Oliveira had a broken rib.
Ooh, yeah, that's
a broken rib, and Said Nurmagomedov lost not the first 10 minutes of the fight and then came back. No, he lost the last 10 minutes to a guy who might have had a punctured lung, for Christ's sake. Oh, come on, Said Nurmagomedov. You absolutely screwed me. Damn it.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. It was so bad. Yeah, my brother and his friend came over to watch the fights, and I'm hyping up Syed. Oh, this guy, his striking's phenomenal. Phenomenal kicks, spinning back fist, really good submission game, and hyping this guy up, and then he gasses out in 6 minutes. Oh, what the heck? But we got Avery with the 199 saying, "All hail the Stat Diggers parlay." Shout out to Avery. I mean, Weezy had a nice chat with Avery the other day. Avery's a cool dude. Avery's a very cool dude. So shout out to Avery. Sure. All right, let's hit up the chat, see what is up with you guys. We got Elijah on first one of the building saying, "Let's go. Let's get it." I got crapped on the last card. Another greasy heavyweight fight goes to decision. Yeah. Sergey Pavlovich goes to decision once more. Sergey Pavlovich showing better cardio than Syed Nurmagomedov and going out there and wrestling. What's going on? That's crazy. But yeah, he got the win. He needed a win, and he got it. House of Pain Michael, this is going to be the greatest stat takers ever, Brady. We still love you. Just saying that was not a good bet. Yeah, I guess it wasn't. I guess it wasn't the smartest idea.
The judges made it a bad bet. It was a good bet based on like the actual fighting performance of the two athletes involved. It's just the judges, it looks like they might have gotten a little bit of extra Saudi money to make sure that the Egyptian got the nod there.
And I get it. It's in Saudi. It's a close fight. Give it to him. I get it. Roid rage. Yeah, there might be some roid rage potentially. I thought Herzog was going to let Hadzovic die. Me too. Like I was starting to get concerned. Like on the I think it was the 50th punch that McKenny landed that was unanswered. That's when I really started to get concerned. And then the fight got stopped. And I even I said Jason Herzog's name on Twitter, Wheezy, which is very dangerous if you don't know. Because if you say
that's
Herzog,
true. You could definitely get Herzogged.
If you say Herzog's name on Twitter, you will potentially get Herzogged. I've gotten Herzogged before. I said, and I quote, "Hey, Jason Herzog, what the fuck?" in a tweet, and then he Herzogged me. Last night I said, "Great stoppage by Jason Herzog. When a fighter is covering up, eating 50+ unanswered shots, the fight should be stopped. Herzog has been on point lately," with a thumbs up. So, kind of complimenting him, but kind of being sarcastic as well, because that was a scary stop. Poor Damir Hadzovic, 38 years old, coming off of a major injury. I didn't like that. Hey, Weezy, did you have the numbers on fighters who lose their championship fight and they go on to lose their next fight?
I do not know. I could do it, but it's not something that I've programmed into my sheet.
Uncle Weezy is the GOAT, underrated AF. Oi! Shout out to PCP.
My bets were underrated last week. Underrated as shit, But I got a little whipped cream that we put on top of the shit when Michael Venom Page cashed as a plus 170 underdog. But yeah, that put an end to the bleeding of all the violence bets that just racked up and didn't come close to finishing. Damn it!
At least you don't have to gain 60 pounds of fat. That's good.
Oh God. My doctor's very happy.
My doctor's not. We got Dan, smash the like button. I agree. Shout out to Dan from Half the Battle. We got Chin Check MMA. What's up, Brady and Weezy? Let's cash some tickets down under. Let's do it. Uncle Weezy, my second favorite uncle. Who's your first?
It's good enough, man. If we're not related, so I'll take second favorite. As long as I'm up there on the list of uncles, that's what matters to me.
Yep, that is true. We got Fort. What is up, Forrest? Good to see you. Alexander. Let's chase his bread. What is up, Artem? We got Daz in the chat recap. Poor Izzy, but nice bank balance. Let's go. Daz was on the Imavov money line. I was not expecting Imavov to spark Izzy.
Me neither, dude.
That was crazy.
Izzy's so durable, too.
I know.
He's so durable. He's been knocked down once in the UFC going into that fight. He had been knocked out only once, and it was in the 5th round by Alex Pereira, and some people were even saying that was a controversial stoppage. So for Imavov to go out there and just drop him, starch him, Izzy's a very durable fighter. So that's a massive feather in the cap. Big up, Nasruddin Imavov. What a performance!
Yep. Good thing Herzog wasn't in there. If Herzog was in there, the fight might still be happening right now. But Herzog was not reffing. So we got Bub Collins with the 199. Shout out to Bub Collins saying, "Can we get a moment of silence for the folks robbery?" Yeah, I thought it was a bad decision. But like I said, the fight was so bad that I don't think anybody cares. I don't think, unless you had money on the fight. But you shouldn't have had money on the fight. Shout out to Bub Collins. Get some help. Jason Herzog. I'm gonna have to. I spent like $30 on that shirt. It was like $20, but you had to customize it. Put the Herzog name on there, Team Herzog, and then the shipping, the taxes. It's about a $30 shirt, and he goes out there and almost gets Damir Hadzovic killed. What's going on? Start giving this guy props, and now he's gonna get fighters hurt. I don't like that. Zion versus Davis was a very, very fun fight. That was a phenomenal fight. Let's see. His knee is definitely messed up. That must have been, I don't know how, like that. Knees should not have been like that. Knees.
Somebody posted a picture of that on Twitter. So I saw a still shot and I was like, what? It looked so bad, man. It looked like somebody had just been, it looked like Theismann after he got hit by Lawrence Taylor, man.
And I have to rip up my Mike Davis sub ticket at like plus 550. Sick.
Yeah, that hurts.
MBS, Shara, Mike Davis all looked sick. Yeah, they all looked off a little bit, I should say. I think Shara was just kind of like frozen. Like it's MVP is such a tough guy to fight. Maro's definitely on the special side of things. I wouldn't say that. She's I don't know what to think of her. At least you aren't on a cheeseburger diet, Wheezy Brady. I ordered your trend. There we go. Should be arriving soon. Should be arriving soon. Let's see. Making fighting nerds look bad. Fire her. Teen for Brady. Poor hopefully no teen. You mean Tren? Oh yeah, Tren, not teen. There we go. Absolutely not. Leader of it. What is up, AJ? Josh is a sponsor. What is up, Josh? Get some help, Mike Davis. Get some help, Syed. No relation, Nurmagomedov. Get some help. Get some help, Elmo Fat. What? Oh, get some help, Hamdy. Get some help. MVP easiest. Yeah, I think MVP is. I know it's early in the year, but that could be potential for best bet of the year so far. And MVP.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Not even a sweat. Easy, just like Vicente Luque when he submitted that bum Themigrimba. It was just nice and easy.
Yeah.
You have a broken rib. What is up, Get Darce? Woo!
Oh,
that'd be bad. Murat might actually finish him later in the fight. Actually got to finish.
Yeah, because I mean, like the pace that he puts on, he got Umar tired, and Saeed gasses after 7 minutes. I mean, oh my god, it would have been so bad.
We got Dravi in the building. What is up? Saying smash a like for the boys. This card is going to be fun after looking into it. I'm the same exact way. On paper, it's like, oh god, Colby Thickness, and then you look into the fights, and it's like, yeah, these fights are going to be fun. These fights are going to be very fun. Pogues sucks. Yeah, Pogues is not great. Not great. Broken ribs are absolutely no joke. Absolutely no joke whatsoever. We got Sal D'Amato in the building. I made some good money on Saturday. Oh, Sal D'Amato.
Dude, I want to party with Sal, dude. That dude's I'll bet you that guy's house is just incredible. I mean, with all the money that he takes under the table, and when you take that kind of money like under the table, Brady, you got to buy shit with it. You can't just put it in a bank. The IRS is going to start asking questions. So I'll bet like that dude's got like a top of the line hot tub that he paid cash for, you know, like Oriental rugs all over the place, you know, top shelf liquor, and he's paying cash for all of it. Dude, you want to hang out with people who are paying cash, you know, they got money, they can make anything happen. And Sal D'Amato, my friend, that dude pays cash.
Heck yeah. Shout out to Sal D'Amato. Great guy.
Yeah,
not
great
really.
Guy. He's a horrible judge, but I'd still love to hang out and party with that guy. That'd be a story to tell the grandkids.
What does getting Herzog mean? So Herzog, after the fight, sometimes I guess he'll search his name on Twitter, and then if you say something like mean to him or mean about him, he'll quote retweet you, and then he'll like say something back to you. So that's what getting Herzog means. So yes, I did get Herzogged a couple years ago. Herzog blocked me. Maybe he blocked me. I don't know. MVP plus 170. There you go. Shara got blindsided. Yeah.
Yeah, he sure did.
Mike Davis looked bad walking out. Mike Davis looked sick after a backflip ring rust. Yeah, he did a really nice backflip. I saw before the fight.
Oh, that's not good. That's a waste of time.
Did he pull a Barnett? Did he get hurt off the backflip? I don't know. We got Couch Warrior in the building. What is up, Couch Warrior? All right. I say we get into it here. We have, 13 fights on this card, Wheezy?
13 fights, yes.
13 fights, and we're going to kick it off with an absolute banger. We got Hyun-Sung Park going against Nyamjargal, Tumendemberel. We got Hyun-Sung Park, 29 years old, 5'7" with a 66-inch reach. Tumendemberel, 26 years old, 5'7" with a 71-inch reach. Tumendemberel is 3 years younger, same height, and Tumendemberel is going to have a 5-inch reach advantage. Hyun-Sung Park is 5-0 in his last 5 fights. He had a third-round submission win against Sung-Guk Choi, and then a second-round knockout win against the very durable Shannon Ross. As far as Tumendemberel, he is 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He had some fights on road to UFC. I think he had 2 fights, 1 decision win and 1 sub win and then he fights Carlos Hernandez in his debut and loses that fight by a very close decision, which I arguably thought he could have won there. So yeah, should be a very fun fight to kick off the card here. In theory, we kind of got a striker versus grappler matchup, although I think Park can strike, and I think Tumendemberel, he can grapple. But, Park, I do expect him to want to get this fight on the ground. His grappling's very good, very slick, and Tumendemberel is just a complete wild man who throws with a ton of power. So yeah, I expect this to be a very fun fight to kick off the card. What are your thoughts on this one, Wheezy?
Yeah, agreed. And I already researched this fight. I put a bet on this fight, and I've got a write-up for it. So I'll just read the summary in my write-up. This should be a really fun, action-packed fight to start off the UFC 312 card. These flyweights are both great finishers, having finished 15 of their combined 17 pro wins, and both guys can get it done via knockout or submission. Hyun-Sung Park is undefeated as a pro. He's the former Double G flyweight champion. He's got 4 wins by submission, 4 wins by knockout, and 1 win by decision. I rate him as the better grappler in this matchup, and he has a little more UFC experience. Nyamjargal Tumendemberel is a Mongolian wild man. He's finished 7 of his 8 pro wins. He has judo and sambo backgrounds, serious power in his hands, and he's very comfortable and loose inside the octagon. I'd say the market has slightly underrated Nyamjargal's skill set thus far, and they're doing it again, making him a big underdog against Park. Nyamjargal is 2 years younger. He's got a 5-inch reach advantage, and I rate him as the more dangerous striker in this matchup. I think if Park makes this into a grappling match, he can advance to dominant positions and either win a decision or finish with the rear naked choke. But if he is not aggressive and persistent with his wrestling, I can see Tumendemberel potentially stuffing some takedowns, scrambling back to his feet if he does get taken down, and landing the more damaging strikes on the feet and winning by knockout or by decision. Neither guy has ever been finished as a pro, and this is a flyweight fight, and they only finish at a 44% rate historically. So this fight could very much come down to who has better conditioning and who's the better minute winner. But I do think both guys can find a finish here. Park by sub or Tumendemberel by knockout are both live, but it's hard to overpay for violence in flyweight fights where neither guy has ever been finished. I think this fight's going to be close. I think Park is more technical, and he's the more dangerous grappler for sure. But Tumendemberel is younger. He's got a 5-inch reach advantage. He's been a lot more active as of late, as he just fought like 2 months ago, while we haven't seen Hyun-Sung Park in about a year and 2 months. So I think that it's clearly dog or pass on the money line at its current price, because I feel like this is a genuine coin flip. I think it would be a stretch to say Park's grappling is any better than Carlos Hernandez's. And Tumendemberel was able to survive on the mat against Carlos. And even though he lost the minutes at distance striking range, he came close to finishing the fight at the end of the first and third rounds when he landed big shots and almost stole a split decision on damage as a plus 150 underdog. I feel as if I can't count on Park to offensively grapple when he needs to, and I feel Park is entirely too hittable on the feet. I see Tumendemberel surviving the grappling exchanges when they do happen, landing the bigger shots on the feet, and winning a damage-based decision here. Brady, I had Hyun-Sung Park by submission when he fought last time out, or 2 times out ago against Sunguk Choi. He didn't even attempt a takedown until round 3. He got dropped in the first round. He got dropped in the second round. I don't think this guy's very smart. I mean, like his striking is good, but he's extremely hittable. And you see it happening on the Korean regional scene as well as in Road to UFC, where this guy's getting dropped by Top Noi Kirwan. He got dropped twice by Choi. Even Ju Hwan Kim hit him once, and that guy's not good at all. He had 5 minutes of conditioning like Said Nurmagomedov. So, yeah, I think I like Tumendemberel here. And I mean, and if I'm picking him to win and he's plus 180 on the money line, that means I got to bet the money line. So I put 1 unit on Nyamjargal at plus 180.
Yep, he opened up plus 250. He's currently plus 180, so that line is coming down. Hyun-Sung Park opened up minus 300, currently minus 210. And yeah, I looked into this fight. I think it was the first fight I researched, and I really liked violence in it. But they, for some reason, put the over/under at 1.5 rounds, and you typically do not see a flyweight over/under at 1.5 rounds like ever.
Yeah, I know. I mean, they only finished at a 44% clip. So, but I mean, like, we were both thinking about this because I could see Nyamjargal landing a bomb, and I could definitely see Park taking this guy down, getting to his back, and finishing him. So, yeah, I mean, I can see a finish either way, but it's gonna be extremely expensive to back violence in this fight.
Yeah, and if it is, I'm just fine with passing. So I'll probably pass on the first fight of the card unless something sticks out from a prop perspective. But I think Park is live for a sub. I think Tumendemberel is live for a knockout, and I like some type of violence here, I think. All right, so what do you guys like in the chat for this one? What happened? If 2 men in a barrel and one other man go inside a barrel, how many men are in the barrel? 2 or 3?
I guess it depends on how you spell 2 men in a barrel. You know, like, are you talking? You know, it's about the spelling.
2 men in a barrel. 2 men in a barrel. I never heard of him. Hyun-Sung Park is a guy to go fishing with.
Yeah, good guy to go fishing with.
Okay. Saying Hyun-Sung Park is a lock. We shall see. Art of knockout. Nyamjargal, 2 minute barrel. Gasses out in the second. He's terrible. Went to decision with Quillan. Park finished him. Park gets dropped in every round. Will survive and come back.
Yeah, he went to a decision with Topnoy Quillan, but his conditioning is not bad. I mean, he went to the third. Finished the fight with Carlos Hernandez, knocked him down in the last 10 seconds of the third round. Went a full decision with Quillan in a fight where they were grappling the whole time. So I think Nyamjargal's got pretty good conditioning, actually.
Yeah, his conditioning looked fine in the Hernandez fight. The Quillan fight, not really, but in the Hernandez fight, it did look fine. What else we got here? Yeah, they both have a 90%. Yeah, both guys are finishers, but both guys have also not been finished, which is why I'm not sure why they put the over/under at 1.5. Not cool. Not cool. All right, let's move on to the next fight. It is Kody Steele going against Rong Zhu. Remember last Rong Zhu show, we had a what could Zhu Rong parlay, and it went wrong. The parlay went wrong. So maybe we'll cook up another what could Zhu Rong parlay for this card. But yeah, Kody Steele, 29 years old, 5'9", 71-inch reach. Rong Zhu, 24 years old, 5'9" with a 72-inch reach. Rong Zhu is 5 years younger, same height, and he's going to have a 1-inch reach advantage. Kody Steele, 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Had a contender series fight against Chase and Blair, broke him and finished him in the second round with a nice body shot. Rong Zhu is 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He was in the UFC. He got cut from the UFC. He went on road to UFC and then won a couple fights there. And then he came back against Chris Padilla and lost that fight by second round doctor stoppage. And it was heavily warranted. His eye was completely swollen up. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Kody Steele. This guy is very good. Kody Steele, primarily a grappler. Like, that's his background. BJJ black belt, has a ton of grappling matches. But when you watch him fight, he's not really going out there trying to grapple. He's trying to go out there and take your head off, and he's very good at doing that. Kody Steele has a ton of power, and he mixes it up very good to the head, to the body. We saw that in his contender series fight, and he has very good cardio, pressure, and pace. He wants to break you down. He wants to tire you out, and he wants to get you out of there as the fight goes on. So I feel like Kody Steele has a couple ways to win this fight. If he wants to go out there and strike with Rong Zhu, it's like that's giving Rong Zhu as one path, because Kody Steele, he is hittable. He will eat one to give one, but he has so much power, really good striking. I think if Kody Steele grapples here, I mean, he can make this look extremely easy. Rong Zhu's been submitted like 3 or 4 times, and Kody Steele, a legit BJJ black belt. He has grappling matches against guys like Gregor Rodriguez, Phil Rowe. So yeah, Kody Steele, I think, it just has a ton more ways to win, but will he use, all those ways, or will he go out there and just swing dicks with Rong Zhu? And if he swings dicks with Rong Zhu, I think he could still win that fight, but I wouldn't really want to lay minus 250 on him. Weezy, another very fun fight here on this card.
Yeah, Cody Steele making his UFC debut in Australia. You know, that's a tough one, right? I mean, you don't want to make your debut in Australia unless you're Australian or from New Zealand. So this is not the best situation to make your debut in. But talk about an ideal opponent. You want to get a candy ass that sucks, and that's Rong Zhu for you. This Cody Steele kid is intense, man. He's intense. He's trying to kill you out there. And I want to point out, in case people don't know, that the guy who handed Alex Pereira his first loss as a professional mixed martial artist was too intimidated to step into the cage with Cody Steele.
Sure.
Quimel Otoni, or whatever the hell his name is. This guy was scheduled to fight Cody Steele on the Contender Series. He made weight. He flew from Brazil to Vegas, and on the day of the fight just said, I don't want to fight this guy. And he quit before the fight even started. That's kind of, and when you watch Cody fight, he's durable. He's extremely aggressive. He pressures nonstop, and he will mix in the grappling too. It's not like he's just trying to take your head off. He's mixing in takedown attempts and trying to work that as well. He's not going to give you a whole lot of room to breathe, to get off kicks, and to just like he doesn't give you breaks. He's going to be in your face fighting you, whether it's in the clinch, whether it's at distance, whether it's on the mat. Cody Steele is going to be in your face. This is one of those spots where, Brady, you and I both know it's really hard to lay big juice on a debutante, when they're fighting somebody that's been in that UFC cage before. So we can name so many fighters that have their worst performance in their UFC debut. So it's always risky doing that. But I think Cody Steele is going to kick the shit out of this loser. I think he's going to destroy this. I think Rong Zhu sucks. And even though Rong Zhu's got 29 professional fights at the tender young age of 24, he's finished 20 of his 23 wins. He's a very experienced young fighter who gets a lot of good training in China, and he's been well traveled, very busy. Only been fighting for less than 9 years, but this will be his 30th professional fight. So I'm not saying that the guy doesn't, he's absolutely terrible. But Cody Steele is going to kill this kid if he shows up healthy, and I think he's mentally ready. I mean, he looks extremely confident. He's got great Brazilian jiu-jitsu, which we haven't really seen him use yet in the recent tape, because he's just knocking these fools out. So, yeah, man, I think Cody Steele is a phenomenal prospect. And the fact that Otoni wouldn't even get into the cage with this dude, but he's willing to fight Alex Pereira, that's crazy. He didn't back out of the Alex Pereira fight, the guy that knocked out a dude that's still sleeping 5 years later, in LFA. So, yeah, I like Cody here. I think he's going to kill this kid.
Especially if Rong Zhu shows up with that patented pink hair. Oh
no.
Remember that? Remember that? Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I remember. Who did he fight in that fight?
Bahamondes.
Yeah, and I remember our guy Dan Levy saying, if you think a pink-haired Chinese guy is going to beat Ignacio Bahamondes in a fight, then Zhu wrong.
That's funny. So I take it he's not going to go into our what could Zhu wrong parlay?
Well, I mean, I think that the Cody Steele, I'm surprised he's down minus 500 here. Honestly, he's only minus 240.
Yeah,
that's not that bad.
It's not. He opened up minus 250, currently minus 240. Rong Zhu opened up plus 210, currently plus 205. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good matchup for him as well. I think he has the tools to make this look very, very easy, and if not get a finish. So they set the over under at 1.5 again, which is very annoying because Cody Steele, like he could like spark people, but I like his just the aggressiveness, the pressure, and how he breaks people. Like he broke down that Chasen Blair guy, like made him quit, and there landed a nice body shot. So yeah, I kind of think it's like happens later in the fight, but I do think I do think he finishes Rong Zhu at some point.
Yeah, I think he's gonna run this pink-haired freak into a jigsaw. That's what I think is gonna happen here. But you have to mention the fact that he's making a long trip to Australia to make his UFC debut against a much more experienced opponent. So that all needs to be said. But yeah, I like Cody here.
It does, and I think that's something we got to talk about more because I think the long trip to Saudi Arabia even affects some of the fighters last night.
Yeah, it did.
Like Mike Davis even posted about it on his Instagram, how he said he wasn't able to get like accommodated throughout the week and whatever. So
Pogues, I'm sure, had problems too, Brady. I mean, like the Abdel Wahab making the much shorter trip in front of the friendly crowd. Those things matter.
It does. Yeah, it absolutely matters. We see it time and time again. Fighters make these long flights and they look off. They look sluggish. They look drunk. And so that is a worry. Cody Steele is going to murk this dude. He's wrong for that. Sounds like a porn name. Rong Zhu?
Cody Steele.
Cody Steele. Yeah, Cody Steele.
Yeah.
Rong Zhu does not sound like a porn name. Could be a steal. Could be a steal. Cody Steele retired a guy without fighting him. Very impressive. You don't see that. Cody Steele to shave the candy ass of Rong Zhu. Oh, jeez. Let's see. Don't bet Steele at chalk. -240s. Right? Yeah, -240s. -240s. We got Justin with the $4.99. Appreciate you, Justin. He says, let's go. Love the commitment to the grind. Big ups to the Wheeze. Let's go. Shout out to Justin. Cody likely rolls, but Kumela and Era is a stretch. What? What's cool?
Well, it's not a stretch. It's true. It's true. Kelmel Tony quit on fight day because he didn't want to fight Cody Steele. So yes, it's true. But if you can leave that out and just look at the in octagon appearances from Cody Steele and the really long combat jiu-jitsu resume that he has as well outside of MMA. I think he's better than Rong Zhu. So yeah, I mean, but I still think that yes, that matters. The fact that, a guy who fought Pereira at 205 is too scared to fight a 155-pound kid in Cody Steele, that matters.
So the what could go wrong parlay, Rong Zhu, okay, plus Jimmy Crute, okay, that could go wrong, plus Justin Tafa. Okay, that could go very wrong. I like it. What do you think?
I think, yes, there's several things that could go wrong. I like it a lot, man.
Yeah. If you think a guy that dyed his hair pink and missed weight by 5 pounds is beating Nasia Bahamones in a fight, then I'm sorry, my friend, but Zhu wrong. Yeah, he did miss weight by 5 pounds in that one.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Even worse. What happened to Brad? I think Brad Riddell retired. I think I heard he retired, which is crazy.
I think so. Yeah.
All right, let's get this freak off the screen. All right. Let's see. All right, we got Quillan Salkilld going against Anshul Jubli. We got Salkilld. He is 25 years old, 6 foot with a 75-inch reach. Jubli, 30 years old, 6 foot with a 79-inch reach, or 69-inch reach, my bad. So we got Salkilld is 5 years younger, same height, and it's going to be Salkilld with a 6-inch reach advantage. Quillan Salkilld is 5-0 in his last 5 fights. He had a very fun and exciting Contender Series win against Gage Young. It was a fight where Dana White actually got in the cage after the fight and gave him props. It was a really good fight, really fun fight, and a good performance. Anshul Jubli is 4-1 in his last 5 fights, made his debut against that bum, Jekasaragi, and knocked him out in the second round, and then lost by knockout to Mike Breeden in the third round. And I went back and watched that Breeden fight, and yeah, Jubilee's not as bad as I remember him being. Like, I actually think Jubilee's kind of decent. Like, I think his striking's solid. He can actually wrestle and grapple a little bit. But in the Breeden fight, he was winning probably 10 and a half minutes of that fight. But once that third round hit, Mike Breeden started barking at Anshul Jubli, and Jubli looked terrified, like he's never seen anything like it. And the announcers even said it. They were like, I think Jubli's scared, and he looked scared. And then Breeden kept barking on him. And at one point, Breeden screamed like America at him. Why'd they cut Mike Breeden? How can you cut Mike Breeden after that performance? It was one of the best comebacks I've ever seen. But yeah, Mike Breeden ended up breaking Jubli and finishing him. But yeah, prior to that, Jubli looked solid. He looked good against Jekka, but Jekka's not that great. See, I think Jubli's actually not as bad as I once thought. With that said, though, I think Salkilld is absolutely the real deal. This guy's very long, very rangy, decent striking, very good wrestling, and next level grappling, good cardio, very tough. I think Salkild's a very good fighter, and how I see the fight playing out, I think the striking exchanges could be competitive, but I just think Salkild's going to be able to take this guy down at will. I think he's going to wear on him. I think he's going to cook him, and I think he's going to finish him at some point in the fight. I think Salkilld has a bright future ahead of him, whereas with Jubli, I'm not so sure. Like, I think Jubli's decent, but I'm not so sure about him. So yeah, I like Salkilld here, but he's I think at this point, the tied with being the biggest favorite on the entire card. So I saw him at -400, and I'm like, yeah, I like Salkilld as a parlay piece. Didn't get to parlay him, and now he's -550, and I expect it to maybe even get wider because I think people are very, very low on Jubli after losing to Mike Breeden. That's not a great look. But yeah, I like Salkilld here potentially by a late finish. Wheezy, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, my thoughts are I watched as much tape as I could today on Salkilld, and I'm very impressed by this kid. First of all, he's only 25 years old. He's been fighting for about 4 years, and in that time, he became, I forget whether it's Hex or Eternal. All I know is that you can't get fucking tape on Hex, and it pisses me off. But he's one of these organizations, champions, and let's see which one it was. I always forget. Eternal. So he's the Eternal MMA lightweight champion. He won it versus Blake Donnelly with a great knockout in the first round. He defended it in a 5-round fight against Brett Pastore, and he out-grappled Dom Marfan in a rematch. He's fought Dom Marfan twice, beat him both times, who's a good grappler, and he out-grappled Marfan. And yeah, he dealt really good with the pressure of Gage Young, outworked him at distance. This guy's got phenomenal conditioning. He's got great output. He uses his length well. Good kicks, good punches. He sits down on his strikes. When his opponents grapple him, he's amazing in the scrambles. And when he gets takedowns, he tends to get to dominant positions. And he's a scrapper too. He's ready to fight. He's got a chin on him too. So I like everything there is to like about Salkilld. I'm not seeing any weakness anywhere in the game. And he's still only 25 years old. And with that kind of durability, conditioning, and output, and a well-rounded skill set, I think that this guy can go I think he can have a really good UFC career. Jubli, like you said, Brady, he won the first 2 rounds of that Breeden fight. And then, Breeden's a guy who's known for putting a pace on people, and that's exactly what he did. And he broke Jubli. And that's exactly what Salkilld can do to you, because you're not going to really get this guy out of there. He's really tough. He got submitted, I believe, in his debut. Yes, Pablo Torrealba, 2021. He got submitted in Eternal MMA. That was his professional debut, and since then he's on a 7-fight win streak, and he's defended the championship twice for Eternal MMA. So I like everything there is to like about the Salkilld side, because he's well-rounded, because he's got great conditioning, durability. He's got that dog in him too. So I think he's going to win this fight, but the line's just a little bit ridiculous. This kid's making his debut. It's not like Jubli's terrible anywhere. He's very technical, actually, everywhere. He can mix in takedowns. He's got good technical striking. He'll keep his hands high. He's got, decent conditioning. He just got broken by a fighter. And, when you're getting barked at in there, Brady, that's terrifying. Mm-hmm. I don't care how good of a fighter you are. When a human being starts barking at you and you've been beating his ass for the last 10 minutes, if you don't get a little bit scared, that's probably like a red flag just as a human being. So Jubli's working, as Vitek said. Has his bark defense improved? We can only hope so. And hopefully as a defense for fighting fighters with glorious mustaches, because that's something that he's going to be running up against in this fight too. That kid Salkilld, the MMA skill set is great, but great strong mustaches inspire confidence, not just in the man who has it, but in the people who watch that man. And so I have a lot of confidence in Quillan Salkilld.
Yeah, like I was telling you earlier, like we haven't seen a mustache like that since like probably the 1970s.
Yeah, I mean, like Eddie Wineland, the Mustache Mafia, but it was unfortunate because he was at the end of his career. The mustache was like just getting started, but Wineland's MMA career was pretty much at the end of its rope. So this time, hopefully, we're going to see that mustache come in the cage and get a big win instead of getting starched.
Yeah, Vineland did have a great mustache, but not a great chin to go with it, unfortunately. Yeah. So yeah, wide line here on Salkilld. He opened up minus 250 actually, and he's currently minus 550. Anshul Jubli opened up plus 210. He's currently plus 400. The over under set at 2.5 rounds. The over 2.5 plus 125. The under 2.5 is minus 155 there. What do you guys like in the chat here? So let's all pray Jubli wins. If we all pray and he will win, and then we can bet like on him.
Against him, I think.
People forget, man. Jubli beats Jeckastaragi. That guy is Jekka's no joke. Jekka's no joke. Yeah, and I heard that they actually brought in some dogs to bark at Jubli and during camp. So I think he'll be more than prepared for this fight. Think the line is wide. Yes, it's wide. It's certainly wide, but I think Salkilld probably gets it done here. We got Paku _MMA with the $2 donut. Appreciate you saying I'll be at the fights live this week and let's go. There you go. I think it's a great card to attend. I think there's going to be a lot of violence, a lot of fun fights. So enjoy it, man, and hopefully you make some money while you're there. If only I could see what he's been working on barking on camera. Like I said there, I think they brought a few dogs in, and then I think he'll be prepared. Well said, Weezy. My advice would be to gamble irresponsibly on the guy and his mustache. I like it.
It's an irresponsible line, that's for sure, at minus 550.
Jubli is training at Fighting Nerds with Gene Self. No, he's not. He's not. It's a great mustache. It's a great mustache. Let me see if I can bring up a picture of it. I don't think the picture does it justice, though.
Yeah, it doesn't quite do it justice. And also, I mean, I saw him fight without the mustache too. And he looked good without the mustache. He's got kind of a baby face, actually. I was like, whoa, that's the same kid. What fight was it? Maybe the Luciano fight? Or no, that's Micallef. Yeah, forget it. I don't know, but I've seen him without the mustache too. He looks a lot younger.
If this line was based off of who had the better mustache, I mean, we might see Salkilld like minus 10,000, the first 10,000 favorite in the UFC.
Yeah, it's a strong stash, man. There's no question about it.
Yeah, like you don't see a stash like that nowadays, not in 2025. So shout out to Salkilld for that. All right, let us keep moving on to the next fight. We have Jonathan Micallef going against Kevin Jousset. We got Micallef, 25 years old, 6 foot with a 77-inch reach. Kevin Jousset, 31 years old, 6'2", with a 75-inch reach. Micallef is 6 years younger. Jousset with a 2-inch height advantage and a 2-inch reach disadvantage. Micallef is 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He had a contender series fight against Muhammad Adu, won that fight by first-round submission. The fight didn't last that long, so we didn't really get to see a ton of them there. And then as far as Kevin Jousset, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Made his debut against Kiefer Crosby, won that fight by first-round sub. Won a decision against Song Kanan, and then got knocked out in the second round by Brian Battle. Yeah, should be another fun fight here. I'm not the biggest fan of Kevin Jousset. Like, I think he's pretty talented. I think he's a very technical striker, judo background, city kickboxing guy. Not the most fun and exciting style in the world, but I think he's pretty good. So, Weezy, what are your thoughts on this fight here?
Yeah, I still need to find out a little bit more about Micallef, but he was in Hex, and they've got a lot of highlights on his fights. I watched the highlights of the Alden Bates fight. That was a wild one. Bates knocked him out. And I need to go back and watch the Otto fight, but yeah, he's got 2 wins by decision, 2 wins by knockout, 3 wins by submission. He's still on the right side of 26 years old. So he's definitely got good size for the division as well. Jousset's 2 inches taller, but Micallef's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage, and he's a southpaw in the southpaw versus orthodox matchup here. So, but it's Jousset who's got an experience advantage. He's got the UFC experience advantage, and he's obviously got the strength of schedule advantage too. But you just got to remember one thing here is that we don't exactly know what Jousset's ceiling is. Because beating Kiefer Crosby and Song Kanan at the UFC levels, to me, that's meaningless. He fought Brian Battle and he got smoked. So when he gets into the middle of the division, you saw that there's a ceiling there, and that Brian Battle took a long trip from the States all the way to France to beat him and knocked him out in the second round, and violently at that. So I still need to find out more about where this Micallef is, though. He seems to be pretty hittable on the feet, and that's a problem. And also, he can get put on his back as well. So, we could see Jousset potentially get takedowns and land some ground and pound. He's got good. He stays busy on the feet, but the defense isn't great, man. Jousset's got 50% distance striking defense, so it's not like Micallef couldn't land a shot here. And he's like 7 years younger too. So I think it's an interesting fight. I'm not ready to be laying juice on Jousset at this point in his UFC career, at this point in his MMA career. And yeah, these are, you got Jousset, who's French, but he trains in New Zealand, and you got Micallef, who's Australian. So these are 2 hometown guys, so to speak, that they train in the area. And I think Jousset's got that big experience advantage. He's probably the crisper striker, but Micallef's younger, and he's got a little bit better Brazilian jiu-jitsu, it looks like, with a 3-0 record to the submission. Good triangle finish last time out. And, he's got good size for the weight class as well. So, yeah, I wouldn't lay the juice here. But Micallef still has a lot to prove with this being a UFC debut. So, probably be a stay-away fight for me, but I think it'll be a fun one.
Yeah, Jousset opened up -260, currently -240. Micallef opened up +220, currently +205. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Jousset, but I do like him in this matchup quite a bit. Not enough to, I think, lay -260 on him, but I do like him. You said that Jousset has bad striking defense, and I agree. It's like 50%. Micallef's has to be like 10%. Like, it's so
true.
bad. It's so bad.
Hit. Yeah.
He's like walking face first into punches. And I think just like a technical striker like Jousset's probably going to be able to just pick him apart across 3 rounds. But Micallef, he will go out there, try to make it a dogfight, and try to get takedowns here or there. But yeah, I kind of lean Jousset. Maybe a potential finish in this one just because of how hittable Micallef is. And Jousset's been finished in both of his losses, I think. So maybe violence could be sneaky here. But I could also see just Jousset jabbing his face off for 15 minutes. So probably going to stay away. But the over-under set at 2.5. The over 2.5 is -155. And the under 2.5 is +125.
Yeah, completely staying away from it. Just stay away for me. Yeah. And I watched the tape on this guy. I'm not sure what to do with it. Yeah, I think he could potentially be pretty good, but we got to see him at the UFC level before we're going to know anything.
I got Kevin at lost to Battle. That was rough. Yep, but I think Battle would. They wouldn't even book the Battle Micallef fight, I don't think. But yeah, it wasn't the best look in the world. I think Kevin is good enough to sprinkle. Maybe sprinkle like a knockout prop, depending on what it is, because Micallef is like a walking punching bag. Let's get those likes up, peeps. I agree. If you guys have not already, be sure to smash the like button. Just like poor Damir Hadzovic got smashed face down on the canvas. 60 unanswered shots. Thank you, Jason Herzog. Jeez. 38-year-old Damir Hadzovic coming off of a 2.5, 3-year layoff, coming off of an injury, face down, getting pounded in for 30 to 45 seconds too long. So smash the like button, just like he got smashed like that. All right. Here it is. Here it is. We have Alexandre Topuria going against Colby Thicknesse. Colby Thicknesse. Let's go. What a last. I can't think of a better last name than Thicknesse, Wheezy. Can you? Thicknesse.
Oh man, that is such a great name. Like I've had a lot of aliases in my day, but Thicknesse is going to be one that's going to start, like when you sign into buildings and stuff and you just don't give them your real name, like I could see Thicknesse being something that I put in there.
Thicknesse. Because I don't mind them thick sometimes. Sometimes.
Oh, I don't mind it at all.
Yeah. But so Colby Thicknesse going against Topuria here. We got Thicknesse, 25 years old, 5'9" with a 70-inch reach. Topuria, 29 years old, 5'7". Thicknesse, 5-0 in his last 5 fights, making his debut. Topuria, 4-1 in his last 5 fights, making his debut. So yeah, I see the name Thicknesse and I get excited, of course. And then I go and watch this guy. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. There's no thickness here at all. There's no thickness here at all. Absolutely no thickness. So got disappointed. But yeah, watch a lot of these thickness fights, and basically here's how every thickness fight plays out. The fight starts, he shoots in for a takedown in the first 10 seconds. He gets it, and he either controls you and wins the round, or he submits you or ground and pounds you. He has some really good ground and pound, but he has no striking that I've seen, at least. I don't think I've seen him try to attempt to strike, because he's going out there and he's instantly looking to get the fight down to the mat. So that's Colby Thicknesse for you. And his nickname is Slickness, which we haven't seen somebody this slick since Slippery Pete Barrett, who is very hard to get a hold of. So I'm looking forward to Colby Slickness Thickness. And he's taken on Topuria. And this is such a weird fight, a weird fight, a weird fight that makes no sense. Because I'm looking into Topuria, right? And first and foremost, there's like no tape on this guy. A couple fights, and the fights that you do see, they last like a couple minutes, if that. And I'm going and watching tape on this guy, and I'm watching a fight where he looks really good in round 1. Takes this guy down. And then all of a sudden he completely death gasses. He has nothing left. It was the worst display of cardio I've seen since Syed Nurmagomedov last night. And Topuria gets knocked out. And I'm like, that's not a great look at all. And then I look at the date, and it's like 2015 that happened. And I'm like, what? What do you mean that was back in 2000? That's about 10 years ago. And apparently this guy Topuria has fought 3 times in the last 10 years. That's insane to me. Mike Davis fights more than this guy. How's that possible? And you take a look at his opponents. we gotta pull him up. Got an ad. Lucas 7-29. Lucas Tenorio, really? That's one of his 3 opponents in the last 10 years. Not this guy. If we're talking about candy,
Loco.
He does not. 1-11. 1-11. El Loco, Alberto Ibanez. He is one of the 3 opponents he's fought in the last 10 years. And then Johan Segas, the silencer, 3-2. Good.
That's William Knight's weightlifting buddy.
No, that's what I'm going to look like after this cycle of steroids. Look just like that. A couple months of steroids. Yeah. So Johan Segas, Alberto Ibanez, Lucas Tenorio, and who do we lose to? Ivo Forno. He doesn't have a picture. He also beats Alejandro Rumen. No picture.
Yeah, 1-3.
No pictures. They gotta get together. But yeah. Anyway,
bring up that Alberto Ibanez picture. Dude, look at that. Dude, look, you could watch RuPaul's Drag Race for 10 straight hours and never once see a haircut that gay.
You can't say that in 2025.
But you have to say it. I mean, okay. Like freedom of speech is the only thing that matters. And that haircut, I don't care. That is the worst. That haircut, that guy might be 1-11, but that haircut is 0-12. I will tell you that, Brady. That is the worst. And this guy, this
Oh.
candy ass tapped to strikes on, like, as soon as Topuria got him down on the ground, he tapped to the strikes, Brady. I'm gonna go out there and say it because I believe it to be true. I'm sure, like, for instance, the boxer that fought Couture, James Toney, had no MMA fights, what's his name? CM Punk, like Alexandre Topuria, outside of those guys, has the worst resume that I've ever seen get into the UFC. This guy has beaten absolutely nobody. And not only is he fighting nobodies, he's in promotions that I swear to God existed probably for one event. And it was to feed some candy ass to Alexandre Topuria so that he could get a win. Dude, like, what are the promotions even? I mean, have you heard of Wow?
I'll tell you what's wow.
That's where he beat Johan the Silencer Segas. He beat him in Wow. And before that, when he beat that candy ass Ibanez, he fought in a promotion called War. And it was War 1. And there probably wasn't a War 2, Brady. And then the one when he fought Lucas Tenorio, who's 7-29, that was in a promotion called HDH, which is what? Hombres de Honor? I've never heard, dude. Like, this guy Topuria is all hype, no substance, and I'm gonna have to bet Colby Thicknesse just because there's no evidence to suggest that this guy is there's no evidence to suggest that he's even Cage Warriors quality at this point. Don't tell me that at bantamweight you can't find one warm body over the last 10 years to get in a cage and show off your skill set. This guy's last name is Topuria. You would think that one bantamweight in the world with a pulse would have had the sack to step up and say, I'll take a fight against this guy.
It's crazy. Look how inactive. A year and 8 months. He hasn't fought in a year and 8 months. Prior to that, 2 years, 10 months, 3 years a month. 9 years, 8 months ago was an Ivanov fight.
That's he had to work on his conditioning after quitting. He had Said Nurmagomedov conditioning in that fight.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's an awful look. But it was like 9 years ago. So what can you really take? What can you really take from anything,
right?
You can't take anything from any of these fights against these bums.
Yeah, because they're not real mixed martial artists. They're not real promotions, and they've happened so long ago that it's really hard to know where this kid is. And what's the line, Brady?
Well, Topuria opened up minus 250, and it's gotten hammered. He's now minus 550. And then Colby Thicknesse opened up plus 210, currently plus 400. Let me pose this to you. How are you supposed to grab somebody, wrap them up, and get somebody that slick? Like, it's going to be tough to grab them, right? To get a hold of them. Somebody that slick like Colby. I don't know. Minus 550 is a little bit rich for my liking.
Dude, you see what Chase Hooper's been doing to people. It took him like 14 and a half minutes to finally get a hold of Slippery Pete Barrett.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, like, we're going to find out, because we don't know much about Thicknesse either, but this is going to be, this is like nepotism. Now, Topuria might be a phenomenal fighter, and he's being priced as if he is. And maybe he just couldn't find fights. But, I mean, dude, come on. This is the worst resume I've ever seen. And they're making a minus 500 against a guy who's the Hex Series champion. He's fought dudes with a pulse. There's actually video evidence of the fact that this guy has fought in mixed martial arts fights against people with pulses. So I don't know, man. I think Thicknesse is probably the side as far as the money line goes, but we're going to find out a lot about both fighters on Saturday.
Yep, and at plus 400, if you hit that bet, I'll tell you what's going to be thick, your pockets, because that is a very wide line. So yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. Weird fight. Remember Francisco Figueiredo? Yes, I definitely remember him.
Yeah.
You don't know Alberto Ibanez. I do not know 1-11 Alberto Ibanez. We got Peter Griffin in the building. What is up, Peter Griffin? Good to see you there. Let's see. Topuria is Martin Sano all over again. Doesn't belong in there. Next to no experience over 10 years, but he's got a free invite to the UFC. Yeah, free invite here. Let's see what happens. Let's see. We don't know if he's legit or not. Like, we really don't.
But at least Martin Sano had fought one guy before the UFC who I believe was a professional fighter who had been in the UFC, I think. Yeah. Like, I think Sano, like, he was like 3-3 or something like that, but he at least had went like 15 minutes with somebody with a pulse, I think.
Are you down with the thickness? I'm down.
Yeah.
Are you down with the thick? Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm down with it. Won't go well with Topuria. I'm thinking he's minus 550. So we'll see. I would not parlay Topuria. I asked Weezy this. What would the line be if his name was Alexander Thompson from Georgia, but Atlanta, Georgia instead? What would the line be?
Yeah, he wouldn't have even got in there. Otherwise, like, our guy Dan Levy would be feeding all of these NAC guys into the NFC into the UFC. The first time they got a win, it'd be like Dan would be like, "Hey, we're bringing this guy into the UFC now." But no, It's not how it works. You have to actually beat people, in reputable organizations in order to get an invite from the UFC. But this guy's last name is Topuria, so he's going to skip the line over a bunch of people who have fought a lot tougher competition than he has.
Is Thicknesse even that bad? I didn't think he looked bad. He didn't show he didn't really show a well-rounded skill set, but he showed cardio and he showed the willingness to wrestle and grapple. So he has some good grappling chops. Could you please get that? Yeah, we probably lost a ton of viewers with that was up for a while. I probably lost about half the viewers, but I'm edging to Alberto's pick. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. A thick steel parlay. What do you think? A thick steel parlay will feed villages.
Thick steel parlay. I like it.
Thick steel parlay.
Let's go. That'd be a big money parlay too with Thicknesse's number.
Why does Thicknesse look like a 7-year-old teenager? He does. 7-year-old teenager. I can see it.
They took the picture in black and white when he had his hair dyed yellow. So I mean, it just looks terrible.
Oh, Colby Thicknesse or Slickness. Slickness, Thicknesse. What a mouthful. Oh, is that? Yeah, it's Topuria's brother, hence the line. So yeah, this should be a very, very interesting fight. Very interesting.
We'll find out a lot about both fighters. I
don't think we will. I think the fight's going to end pretty quickly.
Yeah, maybe you might be right. We'll see.
I don't think we learned any. Oh, but yeah, we'll learn a little bit. We'll learn a little bit. I think it should be fun. All right, let's move on to the next fight. It is a very good fight as well. We got Cong Wang going against Bruna Brasil. We got Cong Wang, 32 years old, 5'6" with a 66-inch reach. Bruna Brasil, 31 years old, 5'6" with a 65-inch reach. Bruna Brasil, 1 year younger, same height, and we got Cong Wang with a 1-inch reach advantage. Cong Wang is 4-1 in her last 5 fights. Made her debut against poor Victoria Leonardo, and then lost by second-round submission to Gabriela Fernandez. As far as Bruna Brasil, she is 3-2 in her last 5 fights. She beat Marnik Mann by knockout on the Contender Series. She lost to Denise Gomes by knockout in her debut. She beat Shauna Bannon by decision. She lost to Luma Lukbumi by decision. And then she beat Molly McCann by decision. What I'll say about Bruna Brasil is, so I remember researching Bruna Brasil for the Contender Series, and I was very impressed. I thought she was legit, very good striker. She can actually wrestle and grapple a little bit as well. But and she looked great in the Marnik Mann fight as well. But in the UFC, in her first 3 fights, just something looked off. She didn't really look, like she really wanted to be there. She wasn't aggressive at all, very low volume, but she looked the best she's ever had in her career against Molly McCann. And recently, Bruna Brasil has been training with the Fighting Nerds. Maybe that has a little bit to do with it, but she went out there as a big dog against Molly McCann and made it look pretty easy. She was rinsing takedowns against Molly McCann, beating the brakes off of her, and winning a very dominant one-sided decision in that fight. Now they're giving her Cong Wang, who's a very good kickboxer, but she lost as a big favorite against Gabriela Fernandez. I want to say Cong Wang was like, what, minus 1,000, Weezy?
Yep.
Minus 1,000. She gets hurt, and Gabriela Fernandez took the back and choked her out very shortly after. So, yeah, I mean, she's another big favorite here. I mean, what is she? Minus 500. Like, I can't lay minus 500 on Cong Wang when Bruna Brasil, she potentially has a path here with, getting this fight down to the mat, using that grappling. Like, what is Cong Wang's grappling look like? So yeah, that's a little too wide for me. With that said, though, on the feet, Bruna Brasil, I don't think she has the best chin. She's been knocked out 3 times. I could definitely see Cong Wang knocking her out and maybe looking minus 500, but geez, I think a lot can go wrong laying that number, especially in WMMA. So it's going to be a pass for me on a money line perspective, but there are some props potentially sticking out. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this one?
Well, the thing about Wang is that I think she's getting a lot of credit for having a competitive kickboxing match with Valentina Shevchenko 10 years ago, because, I mean, was this not predictable? You beat Wu Yanan, who sucks. You beat Paula Luna, who sucks. You beat Victoria Leonardo, who sucks. You're from China. And then they make you a minus 1,000 favorite against Gabriela Fernandez. And you don't get knocked out by Gabby Fernandez. You get submitted by Gabby Fernandez, the kickboxer. And then so what did we learn, Brady? Well, what we learned is that, yeah, we're going to make her a minus 500 favorite against Bruna Brasil, who's coming off a win over Molly McCann. Why is Bruna moving up to flyweight? That would be my question.
I don't know. We'll have to get her on the show and ask her.
Yeah. And I don't know if her English is all that either. And my Portuguese is probably worse than her English. So I don't think we're going to be able to find out. But yeah, I think it's interesting that she's moving up here. And what I know from Bruna is that she's fought Denise Gomez, she's fought Loma Lukbunmi, and she's fought Molly McCann. And those 3 ladies have pulses. Cong Wang has fought one lady with a pulse, and that's Gabriela Fernandez, and she got submitted in the second round by her. So I think that this might be a case of there being a little bit too much hype on Cong Wang here. And Bruna Brasil is somebody with a pretty well-rounded skill set. She's not going to be outsized in this fight, even though this is her moving up from strawweight to flyweight, and we could potentially even see a better version of her just because when you move up in weight, you're less compromised as a result of the weight cut. So, I mean, I think Bruna Brasil, just, female underdogs cash at a pretty good rate, and Cong Wang might be a fraud, you guys. She might be a fraud. All right. When you lose as a minus 950 favorite, like who else have we seen do that? Maria Agapova. Yeah. Fraud. Yeah. I mean, meth head. Yeah. Yeah, dude, so like that's a bad look, I mean, like Gabriela Fernandez is a very good kickboxer, but yeah, she got subbed by her. So yeah, let's see what Bruna Brasil has here. I mean, this is dog or pass where the money line is currently. Obviously, Wang's a very talented kickboxer, but I think Brasil's a good, well-rounded fighter with a lot higher level experience in terms of her strength of schedule and a really good camp behind her where they come up with good game plans. So maybe this will be the second Brazilian in a row to sub this fraud, Cong Wang, or maybe she's not a fraud and she goes out there and she gets a win as a minus 500 favorite, but the line seems off to me.
Yep, she opened up minus 325. She's currently minus 500. Bruna Brasil opened up plus 275, currently plus 375. The over-under set at 2.5 rounds. The over 2.5 minus 185, and the under 2.5 is plus 155. Betting on this fight need serious help. I mean, maybe. Bruno,
I
yeah,
think
Bruno.
laying minus 500 on a Chinese kickboxer coming off a loss. I think those are the people that need help. But I mean, she looked great against Leonardo.
Yeah, and Leonardo's she's
She's a heavy bag, is what she is.
yeah, she's tough.
But she's very tough, and she's got a good grappling game. But yeah, wasn't able to get Wang down.
Yeah,
Didn't have time.
Bruna Brazil is literally online on her OnlyFans right now.
Okay.
She's going against us head to head.
Yeah, that seems like a bad idea, but I think she's got things that we don't, Brady.
That
in
is
terms
true.
of talent,
That is true. I didn't know she had an OnlyFans show.
I didn't either, but I'm hoping that she's live from her OnlyFans in Australia, because if she hasn't made that flight yet, it takes time to get, Brazil to Australia is not a fun flight.
Yep.
Especially when you're coming from Sao Paulo. It's on the other side. That's on the Atlantic side, not on the Pacific side.
Yep. Saying she gets the OnlyFans boost. Yep, Talbot had an OnlyFans and that didn't work out. So we'll see. Cong Wang is a fraud, but she still levels above Bruna Brazil in this matchup. Standing, I'd say so, but I'd be worried if I laid minus 550 on Cong Wang and Brazil gets her down. And then it's like, what now? What now? I laid minus 550. What the heck? Yeah, I couldn't do it. We got the Parlay MMA. I saw him on Clint Show, I think, last week. Did a great job. Good luck this weekend, boys. Great insight as always. Appreciate you. The Parlay MMA, who hasn't looked good. Good point. I can't name somebody that hasn't looked good against Leonardo in the UFC.
Mandy Bum.
True.
Mandy Bum looked bad, and we cashed a ticket on Victoria Leonardo. Brady, remember that?
No, I don't. I didn't, but now it's all coming back to me. Maybe that's something I wanted to forget. Something I put deep down. But yeah, you brought back those memories. We did bet on Leonardo in that fight. Jeez, that's crazy to even say out loud.
Yeah.
Oh. Let's see. Agree, but Brazilians are good on the ground, and that's what Cong is not good there. Yeah. That cheater, Mandy Bum. Yeah, we haven't seen her in a while. I think she got cut, unfortunately. Yeah. Not good. But all right. Another big favorite there. Let's move on to this next fight. Are we on the main card yet? Let me take a peek.
Not even close, dude.
Jeez.
We've been running our mouths, man.
Jeez. Who's the biggest cheater on this card? Oh, probably Jimmy Crute, because he cheated me and Wheezy out of so much money. We've lost so much money on that bomb, Jimmy Crute. The biggest cheater, Alexandre Topuria, because he's fought 3 times in 10 years and is in the UFC. That seems like cheating. Maybe those.
Yeah, dude, he's the biggest cheater. He cheated the line. Nepotism is cheating. And that's what he got. Yeah, so he's cheating right now because he's never fought anybody with a pulse. And the UFC's like, hey, come on in, But they were going to feed him to Cody Haddon, and I was ready to bet Haddon.
Yeah, that is. I think that could be considered cheating. Absolutely. Rong Zhu's a cheater. Rong Zhu's missed weight a couple times. That's cheating.
Yes.
So, couple cheaters. Couple cheaters on this card. All right, yeah. We already know Sal D'Amato's a cheater. We know he's a cheater. Hopefully, he doesn't make the trip out to Australia. I hope not.
They flew him out to Saudi Arabia, so they're probably like, "Hey, why don't you stop off at Australia on the way back to Vegas to your mansion? You could sleep on a king size bed in a pile of money with models."
Yes. All right. Next fight, we have a very fun fight here. We got Tom Nolan going against Slava Borshchev. We got Tom Nolan, 24 years old, 6'3" with a 73-inch reach. Slava Borshchev, 33 years old, 5'11" with a 69-inch reach. Tom Nolan is 9 years younger. He's going to have a 4-inch height advantage and a 4-inch reach advantage. Tom Nolan is 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Got a knockout win against Bogdan Grad on the Contender Series. He got knocked out by Nicholas Mota in his debut. He knocked out Victor Martinez in his next fight after that in the first round. And then he won a decision against Alex Reyes. That was back in the non-violence era where minus 1,000 fight doesn't go to decision lines. We're going the distance. And somehow, some way, Tom Nolan took Alex Reyes to a decision. It still makes no sense to this day. As far as Slava, he is 2-1 draw in his last 5 fights, a decision loss to Mike Davis, a knockout win against Mahashate, a draw against Nazim Sadikov, a submission loss to Chase Hooper, and then a decision win against James Yontop. I think this is one of the most exciting fights on the entire card because both these guys are going to go out there and both these guys are going to swing dicks, and I think it's all going to come down to who has the bigger cock. What I worry about with both these guys, Weezy, is their durability. Both guys have shown very, very questionable durability. Slava's been wobbled in many, many fights, including getting dropped by Chase Hooper of all people. He borderline got finished against Nazim Sadikov. I mean, that Keith Peterson could have stopped that fight. I went back and watched that fight the other day, and Nazim Sadikov, first off, lands a big shot and then head kicks Slava and then lands a follow-up shot, and you can see Slava go unconscious. And then he wakes him up with brutal ground and pound, and Keith Peterson must be at the bar or something, nowhere to be found, didn't stop the fight. Fight ends up being a draw, but that fight could have been stopped. So, yeah, Slava, the durability is very concerning, but yeah, he's a phenomenal kickboxer. Tom Nolan, the durability is very concerning. He got knocked out by Nicholas Mota, which, that's not the end of the world. But what is the end of the world is getting dropped by Victor Martinez. Like, he was a big favorite in that fight. I'm watching, like, are you really about to lose to this dude? It was looking bad until he landed that shot to the body. So both guys have a ton of firepower offensively. Both guys, don't have the best chins. I think somebody's getting served here in this fight. So I love this fight. I think somebody's getting served. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, like, these guys are fun strikers to watch, and Nolan's just absolutely huge for the division. Remember what he did to poor Bogdan Grad?
Oh,
who we've seen look pretty good since then, man. Because Grad's a featherweight. He agreed to fight Tom Nolan up at light. I mean, sometimes you take a fight up a weight class for an opportunity. When you're a small featherweight, you don't accept a fight up a weight class against Tom Nolan, 6'3", southpaw with a 73-inch reach. That's just a nightmare. So, Borshchev is probably going to have a little bit of problem closing the distance, but I don't think much, man. This guy Nolan is extremely hittable. And while Borshchev eats a lot of big shots, the one thing that you cannot question from Borshchev is the heart.
Yep.
Dude, he almost died in the Sadikov fight and then whooped his ass in the 3rd round. I mean, like, he probably doesn't even remember that 3rd round, and he went out there and killed Sadikov, easily won that 3rd round. So I think Borshchev, obviously the much cleaner striker here, the more decorated kickboxer. And we've seen when Borshchev does lose, it's usually because he's getting taken down and held down. He's come back from the big shots that he's eaten. So I could see either one of these guys landing a big shot. I mean, obviously, I do think that violence is a good look here, but I think they're onto it. I think it's a round to pick them. It's a round to pick them for the under 1.5. And and obviously Borshchev's the better striker. Can Nolan go out there and get takedowns? Can he go out there and wrestle offensively? Can we count on him to do that? Because if he can do that, I think that with the volume that he throws, the power that he has, it's not like Borshchev is unhittable. So I think Nolan's just as likely to land big shots as Borshchev is. If he can mix in the takedowns, and with him being at home in Australia, which is a big deal, I think that he could be live in this fight. But if he's gonna just swing dicks with Borshchev in the middle of the cage, I think I can trust Borshchev more to win in that style of a fight, because Tom Nolan's 51% distance striking defense compared to Borshchev's 65% distance striking defense just has me thinking that Borshchev, being more technical anyway, being more decorated of a kickboxer anyway, probably wins the striking exchanges. And if he wins the striking exchanges, I think he's good enough to beat Nolan here.
Yeah, and I don't think Nolan knows what a takedown is. So that's good. That's good for Borshchev because when you're Borshchev, I mean, I think Borshchev has some of the worst takedown defense in the division. So Damir Hadzovic had a 38% takedown defense. Slava's is 35. So
Yeah.
so I don't think I've ever seen Nolan shoot a takedown. Maybe that changes here, but I do think these two are going to strike. So yeah, I liked violence, and then they put it at 1.5, which this should be at 1.5. This is
Yeah.
the fight that should be set at 1.5. But the under 1.5 is -120. The over is -110. And like Dixon said, this could be one of those dick swinging contests where both guys get knockdowns. Jason Herzog could be in there. And maybe this fight does go over 7.5 minutes just because both guys are tough. Both guys will get dropped, but both guys are tough, especially Borshchev. Borshchev has a ton of heart, like you said. So, I don't know. I think this fight could really go either way, to be honest. I think it just comes down to who's able to land that big shot first. Nolan's much bigger, much younger, and Borshchev has a long flight ahead of him. Long flight.
Yeah, California to Australia, not a fun flight. Anywhere to Australia, not a fun flight, man. It's like there's planets closer than Australia. So, it's going to be, but this is a hell of a fight, Brady. This is phenomenal matchmaking. This is what you expect to see on pay-per-view cards. As a matter of fact, I'd be a lot happier with this one on the pay-per-view card than Teixeira versus Tafa or even the Jake Matthews fight, the Tom Nolan versus Borshchev is going to be guaranteed, fun.
Yeah, and even like Crute Bellato is going to be fun, but Crute's on like a 4-fight skid. Let's get this fight on the main card instead of them, right? Like,
such a good fight.
It's a great fight. Great fight. We got Big Nuts in the building.
Yes.
Shout out Big Nuts.
Let's go.
Did he grab? He attempted 0 takedowns against the bad.
0 takedowns in the UFC. Period.
Yeah.
Attempted or completed.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, Borshchev and Nolan have, in 10 combined UFC fights, have combined for a grand total of 0 completed takedowns.
I think that's why they probably put this fight together. It's like, okay, these guys are going to measure dicks in this one. Yeah. I think it's going to come down to who has the bigger dick. Borshchev is 32. I thought he was like 45. He does look a little on the older side there. Could see a double KO. Could see the first double KO.
Yeah.
It's about the balls, Brady. The small D balls is a dangerous build. It's okay. Slava will look tiny and is still a terrible grappler. Nolan is definitely more of a striker, but can find examples of getting bad competition down and some nasty GMP. Okay. Maybe he does if he wants to take down Slava, he can. I think a gust of wind just came by and knocked down Slava as we speak. So, Slava can be taken down by pretty much. I think Slava's on a plane right now to Australia. I think the turbulence might have took him down just now. Slava's taking defense so bad. And turbulence is, it's no joke. It can be rough at times. But so getting taken down by turbulence is not the worst thing in the world. But yeah, Slava's taking defense is terrible. Don't want to trust Slava. Yeah, to be honest, I don't trust either one of these guys. To be honest, I don't really want to lay money on either of these guys, but I wouldn't mind laying it on maybe a total. I'm going Nolan based off of him fighting in his backyard. Yeah, that's something to absolutely mention. Being a little more active lately. Yeah, absolutely. Maybe there's an alien invasion and Nolan will get granted a Khabib type offensive. He doesn't catch a flying rear naked Ezekiel choke. He doesn't need Khabib type wrestling to take down Slava. All he needs to do is just try to take him down, I think. I think Nolan might shave this goofball. Why is he a goofball? What's wrong with Slava? You don't like Slava? Is Slava a goofball? Would you consider him?
No, man. I love the Russian dance, dude. When he hits you with the Russian Kalinka, that's badass. That's one of the great victory celebrations right now in the UFC.
This is why I like Slava before taping Tom's pre-UFC fights and a bit of his. Okay, so Tom did grapple in some of his past fights before the UFC. I'll have to go check him out. Thank you for that. All right. Yeah, he's probably one of the nicest guys in the UFC. Yeah. He's calling him a goofball. Come on, AJ. Come on. He's such a nice guy. Always a smile on his face. He's not a goofball, man. All right, let's move on to the next fight. We got Jack Jenkins going against Gabriel Santos. We got Jack Jenkins, 31 years old, 5'7", with a 68-inch reach. Gabriel Santos, 28 years old, 5'9", with a 71-inch reach. Santos, 3 years younger, 2-inch height advantage, and a 3-inch reach advantage. Jack Jenkins, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He had a decision win against Don Shameless, a decision win against Jamal Emmers, a knockout loss against Chepe Mariscal, and then a knockout win against poor Herbert Burns. As far as Gabriel Santos, 3-2 in his last 5 fights, made his debut against Lerone Murphy, lost a decision, but arguably won that fight, got knocked out by David Onama, and then he beat Yi Za by decision. So, yeah, should be a fun fight here. This is one that I do need to look into a little bit more, Weezy, but we have another decent-sized favorite here in Gabriel Santos. What I will say is he looked incredible in his last fight against Yi Za, but that's Yi Za. But no, to be honest, I am very high on Gabriel Santos. I think this guy is the real deal. I think he's a lot better than his 1-2 record in the UFC does look like, but this is going to be another good test for him, I think, because this is definitely a step up from Yi Za's last fight. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this one here?
Yeah, I mean, Santos is a pretty big favorite, but a pretty big favorite going from Brazil to Australia to fight a guy in Jack Jenkins who had a win over Jamal Emmers, a similar type of opponent, maybe a fight he didn't win, fight where he got the nod. I mean, if you're taking Jack Jenkins here, you're getting a guy who throws some really effective low leg kicks. He's got some good boxing. He does a good job of mixing in wrestling. He's very efficient in his grappling. I mean, he's only attempting 2.1 takedowns per 15 minutes as Jenkins, and he's having 5.8 takedowns attempted against him. So for every 1 takedown that Jenkins attempts, his opponents are attempting almost 3. But Jenkins has as many takedowns as he's allowed. So he gets his takedowns at a very high percentage. He defends takedowns at about a 74% clip, and he wins 45% of the control time positions in his fight, despite only attempting about 30% of the total takedowns. So Jack's a pretty effective grappler, but it's Santos who's 3 years younger, 2 inches taller. He's got a 3-inch reach advantage, and he's fought the better brand of UFC competition. Lerone Murphy, David Onama, and Yi Za, while Jenkins, lost to Mariscal, who's tough. He probably lost to Jamal Emmers, and he beats Don Shamus and Herbert Burns, who are complete, bottom of the barrel UFC level.
Hey. Don Shamus is shameless.
Well, he is. Yes, he's shamelessly small for a featherweight, for one thing, and was a little bit unqualified to be here, but he took a short notice fight. I don't remember if it was the Jenkins fight, but that's how he got into the UFC. But yeah, I mean, when you look at Santos, who arguably beat Lerone Murphy, who's undefeated, and just beat 7 shades of shit out of Edson Barbosa for 5 straight rounds, when he was beating up Onama and then got caught, and then he beat the hell out of Yi Za.
Oh.
He front kicked him right in the face, dude. Had him hurt in a couple of different spots. He really put a clinic on poor Yi Za. So, yeah, Santos is looking really good right now, but you're laying over minus 200 on a Brazilian having to make the trip to, Australia, fight in front of an unfriendly crowd, which is something that he did, in London against Lerone Murphy. Arguably beat Lerone Murphy, didn't get the nod. And we've seen Jenkins get the nod in a fight that maybe he didn't get. So, and Jenkins is a good fighter. It's not like this guy's got massive holes in his game. He's a little bit undersized for the division. He's already 31 years old, but he's a good fighter. He's a little bit more experienced overall than Santos. He's got good boxing, really good low leg kicks. He's finished 9 of his 13 wins, and he's 4-0 to the decision. So this isn't going to be an easy fight by any stretch of the imagination. And you really have to watch your lead leg when you're fighting this Jenkins kid. So as high as I am on Santos, as good as his numbers are everywhere in the UFC, I'm a little bit worried about the distance striking defense for Santos. I'm a little bit worried about the long trip here. I'm a little bit worried about maybe the judges and the crowd kind of swaying what could be a close fight towards the Jenkins side here. I think it's a very interesting, very high level featherweight fight here. I'm looking forward to this one. It's going to be an all action war, I think.
Yeah, if this fight goes to the scorecards could get interesting because Jack is a very good minute winner, but he has never lost a decision. Undefeated in decisions, and he's been finished in all 3 of his losses. The injury against Chepe, and then he's also been submitted twice. So maybe Gabriel could potentially finish him. If he lands that front kick, I think that front kick finishes like 90% of the division. I'm not sure how Yizaw ate that. Like, it made no sense. I don't know how he stood up. And he ate like a couple of them, right? Like, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, maybe Santos can potentially finish him. Yeah, if this goes to the scorecards, I would be worried about laying minus 225, especially. The over-under is set at 2.5. The over 2.5 is minus 185. The under 2.5 is plus 155 in that one. And then we have, Santos minus 225, Jenkins plus 190 there. I had Jack Jenkins to beat Herbert Burns. There are people out there that don't know what's about to happen. What's about to happen?
Yeah, I mean, he was like a minus 800 favorite over Burns, and he didn't even get him out of there. Like, I had the under in that fight, had a big bet on it, and Jenkins didn't even get him out of there in 7.5 minutes, which is kind of pathetic, actually.
Yeah, I think I had Jenkins 2-3 in that one. But yeah, taking that long to finish Herbert is wild. Jenkins all day, he'd be on 11-fight winning streak if it wasn't for that injury loss. True, but I also really thought he lost Ember's fight. I had a plus 3.5 on Jenkins in the Ember's fight, and I thought he lost the fight pretty clearly. But yeah, they gave it to him. Let's see here. Jenkins all day. Yeah, big dog. Jack my Jenkins. Do what? Jack is thick. Not really. The grappling will be the deciding factor in why Santos will win. Santos getting better every fight. Jenkins peaked. Yeah, Jenkins 31, Santos still 28. And yeah, Santos, BJJ black belt, very good grappler. Santos trains at shoot the box. He is well aware of the leg kicks.
He better be, because this guy Jenkins has broken 3 dudes' legs with his leg kicks, so he better be aware of them, because he's gonna feel a lot of them.
March 2021 at External MMA, my sister took me to get autographs from the fighters before the fight. Jenkins was one of them. He took down my sister's phone number and then later took her down. What's wrong with you, dude? What's wrong with you, Evan? Something's wrong with you, man. Something's wrong with this guy. All right. Question for Cousin Brady and Uncle Weezy. Which prelim fight excites you the most? Thanks and respect to you both. Weezy, which prelim excites you the most?
Well, I really want to see Thicknesse Topuria because I want to find out what the hell is going on there. But it would be like the highest level fights are Jenkins Santos, the highest level prelim, and Nolan Borshchev is going to be the one I think that's going to be the most fun to watch.
Yeah, I'll say Nolan Borshchev, but I also absolutely want to see Colby Thicknesse versus Topuria as well. And those would be my favorite two there. All right, let's move on. We just hit 500 live viewers. We haven't done that since football season or football off season, I should say. So shout out to all.
It's football off season this Sunday, so we got next week. We're probably gonna have to take next Sunday off, Brady.
Yeah, I was thinking either moving it to Monday or doing it later or whatever. But yeah, we're not competing with the Super Bowl.
No chance, dude. We know that the Stat Diggers is a popular show, but it's not that popular.
Yeah, we just lost 4 viewers. We're not at 500 anymore.
Damn it. I'm retweeting this right now. We got to get back above 500. I'm going to shame everybody on Twitter that isn't watching us right now. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! You see what you're doing to Brady? He's already roid raging, and it's just going to get worse as he starts to take more and more steroids, you guys. We need 500 live viewers at all times, or Brady's going to break the camera.
Yeah, if we don't get 500 viewers in the next 30 seconds, I'm slamming my head through the door. My wife just texted me, "Are you okay?" No. No, I'm taking steroids, for God's sake. I'm going to die at 40. Yes, I'm okay, baby. Steroids aren't great. They're not great. They're not great for your heart. They're not great. They're not great. Get some help. I agree. Come on. Come on. All right. We just lost 5. I just lost this 5. That's my bad. That was my bad. Last shout. I lost this 5 viewers. That was my bad. My apologies. But yeah, let's get back to some fights, and we're gonna talk about the main card opener, and it is none other than Jake Matthews going against Francisco Prado. We got Jake Matthews, 30 years old, 5'11" with a 73-inch reach. Francisco Prado, 22 years old, 5'10" with a 71-inch reach. Prado is 8 years younger. Jake Matthews has a 1-inch height advantage and a 2-inch reach advantage. Jake Matthews is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. A knockout win against Andre Fiallo, decision loss to Matt Semmelsberger, submission win against Darius Flowers, a decision loss to Michael Morales, and a decision win against Phil Rowe. As far as Prado, 3-2 in his last 5 fights, made his debut against Jamie Malarkey, lost that fight by decision, won it by knockout against Otman Azaitar, and then lost the decision against Daniel Zellhuber. So we got Jenkins here. I don't even see so he's like a -210 favorite. So Weezy, Francisco Prado is moving up a weight class here, isn't he?
Yep, from lightweight up to, and that's a 15-pound move. It's not a 10-pound move. So he was already undersized for a lightweight, but yeah, he's making the move up from lightweight to welterweight here.
I was going to say, like, he looked undersized at lightweight. Now he's moving up a weight class. I don't love that. What I also don't love is, the takedown defense of Prado. When he gets taken down, he's kind of content to stay on his back and try to throw up submissions. He's very wild with the striking. Like, he does have a lot of power, but very wild. I think Jake Matthews, the more technical striker here. And on top of that, Prado has a long flight. How long of a flight is Argentina to Australia?
It's about as long as Brazil to, it's not good, man. It's 18 hours, probably minimum.
Yeah, I think there's a ton of things going against Prado here, but the problem is Jake Matthews has been fairly inconsistent in his career. Like, there's some performances where Jake Matthews looks like an absolute killer. I'll never forget that fight against Andre Fiallo where he knocks him out. We've come to know now that Andre Fiallo's absolutely horrible, but still, he looked like a killer in that fight, looked like a killer against Darius Flowers. But there's some fights where he's just looked completely like the Matthews Semmelsberger fight, and Semmelsberger just got cut. Jake Matthews looked lost in that fight. Just looked like he didn't want to be there. Looked like he didn't belong. So I don't know. I think it's a great spot for Matthews with, Prado coming, long flight, up a weight class for no reason, in my opinion. And I just think Matthews probably the more technical striker, and then just a clear path with the wrestling. Jake Matthews, BJJ black belt. So yeah, I like Matthews here. Just laying chalk on Jake Matthews is something I just don't love doing that much. So Weezy, what are your thoughts on this fight? And yeah, Dan said it here. Jake Matthews is only 30. Weezy, how many fights does this dude have in the UFC? Like 20-something?
It's right now, according to my sheet, it's 20, and that's only 2013 on. So if he fought before 2013 in the UFC, it's not even on there.
Let's see. He made his debut in 2014.
Okay, yeah. So 20 UFC fights for Jake Matthews. This will be his 21st.
He made it against Deshaun Flyboy Johnson. Made his debut there, and he submitted him in the 3rd round.
All right. Yeah, I remember Deshaun Johnson. Yeah. Brady, do me a favor. Check 2 things. First of all, I think when you were like roid raging over there, I think you knocked off your microphone settings. So check your microphone settings. And then also, I just got a note on Twitter saying that I think Avery Marino might have sent us something on the Cash App and sponsored the show. Why don't you check your Cash App and maybe we could put like a little thing on the bottom here if he's sponsored the show for us.
I got to accept it. Confirm. And yeah, shout out to Avery. Yeah, I'll put something up. Shout out to Avery.
Let's go, man. So yeah, Avery just sponsored Stat Diggers. Appreciate that. And yeah, Matthews Prado, right? This is, I like Jake Matthews here. I think he's just the much better fighter. He's 8 years older, but he's way more experienced. 13 more professional fights, 17 more fights at the UFC level. This guy's beaten Otman Azaitar, his Prado, but he lost to Zellhuber. No shame in that. Zellhuber's a stud. He lost to Jamie Malarkey. And Yeah, the problem is that Prado, when he made this, see, Prado's made this trip from Argentina to Australia before to fight Jamie Malarkey on short notice. It didn't go well. So this is his fourth fight in the UFC, and this will be the second time that he's had to fly to Australia to fight somebody. So I don't think that's a good thing for Prado, because Jake Matthews is the better grappler here. But where I could see Prado having success is landing big shots on the feet, because, I mean, that's how Semmelsberger beat Matthews. You know, as he went out there and he just landed the bigger shots while it was at distance striking range, and he didn't lose enough minutes in the grappling exchanges to wind up getting the fight stolen from him. So I think that there's, you know, paths for both guys, but I am just not a big believer in Francisco Prado yet, after that dog shit performance against Malarkey. And I mean, like, beating Atman Azaitar, I don't care about that. I need to know that this guy can stop a takedown. I need to know that this guy is going to not just sit there and do nothing the whole fight like he did against Malarkey. You know, I believe in Francisco Prado's power. That's for sure. I mean, this guy is definitely somebody who's going to go out there and finish you when he beats you. So Matthews is a guy that we've seen finished 4 times in his 7 UFC losses. So, you know, I think Prado is probably the guy that's going to be more likely to finish this fight. But I think Matthews is just the better fighter, the better boxer, the better Brazilian jiu-jitsu, fought the better brand of competition, a lot more experienced, and he's fighting at home in Australia while Prado has to make the long trip. So Jake Matthews better fucking not lose this fight.
Right.
He better not lose this fight, man, because, you know, I mean, I know Prado's very dangerous, and he is. He's going to have to really mind his P's and Q's wherever the fight goes, because Prado's very aggressive, but Jake's better than this dude everywhere. So he just cannot be making mistakes.
Yeah, no, it's wild. You know, Jake Matthews, he opened up minus 150, currently minus 210. Francisco Prado opened up plus 130, currently plus 180. Yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons to like Jake, but like I said, there's just been times throughout his career where he just kind of disappoints in there. But he's fighting in Australia, which you gotta like that. So maybe he should be fine. The over/under is set at 2.5. Yeah, 2.5 rounds, and it's gotten smashed. The over 2.5 is like minus 175 now. Under 2.5 round plus 145. Yeah, I think it goes over. I don't think Matthews is really finishing Prado unless it turns out that Prado's like a terrible grappler, and Matthews can kind of use his black belt and maybe sub him, maybe. But Prado is very tough. Has a very, very good. I don't think he's knocking out Prado, nothing like that. With that said, I think Prado, if he's winning, I think he probably has to finish Jake, especially like we're in Australia. I think best case scenario is Prado like finding a finish, knocking out Jake. But yeah, I think this probably does go over. 4 pussies left. What do you mean? What do you mean? I'd tune into Stat Diggers over the rigged NFL. Yeah. So who's expected to win the Super Bowl? I'm not sure. I think it's a close line last time I checked, but haven't looked into it yet. Get some help. Steroids are great. Ask Cowboy. Ask him.
He looks huge. Cowboy looks huge.
I haven't seen him lately. I have to check.
Yeah, man. Dude, he looks like that dude that Topuria just beat. That guy that you're gonna look like. And if you want to see, that's he put on some weight.
Okay, I gotta check it out.
Yeah.
Please, people retweet, save his life for near constantly. Yes, and by the way, if we get to 200 likes, I'll put a needle in my arm live on camera. All right. Oh man, I didn't realize this is the last prelim fight. They normally make this the fight they want people to see on the Uprising. So now kind of think Santos could get upset. Jenkins in Australia. Okay, yeah, that is the feature prelim as of now. We got Stacks in the building. What is good? Chat more. Yeah, you guys have actually been killing it on the likes. We already hit 100 likes, which is awesome.
Wow, really good.
100 likes. Prado all day. I'm not the biggest fan of Prado. If he's dangerous, he has some power, but I'm not the biggest fan of him. Prado to be champ by the end of the year is plus 40,000. Could be a sleeper bet of the year if it hits. It could be. Jake is the real goofball. Only beats bums. Why are you guys calling people goof? I mean, is Jake Matthews a goofball? He doesn't strike me as one.
No, man. I mean, the guy's been in the
Wow.
UFC since he was 19 years old. I mean, he's a good fighter. He's a very good fighter.
Yeah, I mean, there are some goofballs on this card. Like, I think Rong Zhu's a goofball. I
Yeah.
think Jim Crute is the definition of a goofball. But calling Jake Matthews a goofball, a 20 UFC fight veteran, I don't know about that. I can't get behind that.
Neither. Yeah, I'm a fan of Jake Matthews.
Yeah. Yes. Shout out to Weezy. I caught the mic there. I don't know what happened. I went into a fit of rage and my mic cut out, and I guess it went back to the computer audio. So glad we got that figured out. And yeah, shout out to Avery. Big shout out to Avery, the official sponsor of Stat Diggers, keeping the show alive. Shout out to Avery. Appreciate you, Avery. What else we got in the chat here? Matthews, that's kind of how I'm seeing it. Matthews' decision is kind of how I'm seeing it there. Let's see. As a Mavericks fan, we lose Luka. I'm in the wrong dimension. You're on the wrong.
Did you hear Luka Doncic got traded?
I did. He got traded to the Lakers
For Anthony Davis, was it?
Yeah, it was in a like 2029 first round draft pick, something like that.
2029?
Yeah, it was like a 2029.
What year? Wait, what year is it?
2025.
Come on, no way. There might not even be basketball in 2029 if these clowns don't start like actually posting up and they run up and down the court and shoot threes. They're a bunch of candy asses. Nobody plays defense. They're always traveling. Come on, 2029. I mean, that's a fleecing. There will not even be an NBA in 2029. You have a better chance of watching Brittany Griner on your television than you will LeBron James. This is stupid.
I think this is the first time we've ever talked about basketball on the show. First time ever.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the old days, man. I watched Jordan back in the 90s, man. These clowns today, I don't want anything to do with them.
Speaking of clown, we got Jimmy Crute taking on Rodolfo Bellato. We got Jimmy Crute, 28 years old, 6'2" with a 74-inch reach. Rodolfo Bellato, 28 years old, 6'3" with a 75-inch reach. We got Jim Crute, same age, 1-inch height disadvantage and a 1-inch reach disadvantage. Jim Crute, 1-3-1 in his last 5 fights, had a knockout win against Modestas Bukauskas, a knockout loss to Anthony Smith, a knockout loss to Jamal Hill, a draw against Alonzo Menifield, and then a second-round submission sub, believe it or not, against Alonzo Menifield. As far as Rodolfo Bellato, he had a couple Contender Series fights. So he fought Vitor Petrino on the Contender Series, got knocked out brutally in the second round, came on the Contender Series once more and won that fight by knockout, and then he made his debut against Ihor Potieria and won that fight by second-round knockout. So first and foremost, I have a lot of things to say about this fight. This fight being on the pay-per-view is hilarious. It's hilarious that we have to pay like $79 for this fight. I mean, it's crazy to me that these two are on the pay-per-view. With that said, though, I think this is going to be a fun fight. If you're a fan of violence, if you're a fan of, somebody getting served, somebody going unconscious, you're going to be a big fan of this fight. In terms of laying any money on a side here, absolutely not. I don't trust either one of these guys. There's a ton of red flags on both these fighters. Let's start with Jimmy Crute. Jimmy Crute is coming off of a retirement. He actually retired against Alonzo Menifield, and then it was weird. I think Jimmy Crute either deleted his Instagram or deleted all of his posts. And you go back and look, and it's like 9-10 weeks ago, he makes a post saying basically he's back, and then he just recently did an interview saying that he wants to give it one more try. He's like, yeah, I can't sit there and be this good and not fight. And he's actually saying that he's better than he was before. So we'll see. But yeah, I don't know what happened. Looks like Jimmy Crute retired, want nothing to do with MMA. And then like 10 weeks ago, 11 weeks ago, all of a sudden wanted to be on this card. I don't know. It's a really weird situation with Jimmy Crute. But yeah, we've not seen him in a year and a half. His last win was 4 years and 3 months ago against Modestas Bukauskas, which was a brutal knockout win and a great win. But since that, it just hasn't been great. The Smith loss was bad. I remember betting on Jimmy Crute in that fight, very confident, thinking, hey, I think Jimmy Crute can take down Anthony Smith, who has a 0% takedown defense. And Jimmy Crute didn't start wrestling Weezy until his leg was completely battered and can barely walk. And once that happened, he completed like 3 takedowns in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Now he started wrestling. And then against Jamal Hill, he gets dropped, gets hurt again, and then he starts trying to wrestle, not able to, and then he gets knocked out. It's just a bad look. And then he gets subbed by Menafield. And then he gets submitted by Alonzo Menafield. Just not the best look. So Jimmy Crute, I've lost money on this guy. I've lost a fair share of money on this guy. Lost money in the Smith fight. Lost money in the Hill fight. Lost money. I had the under in the Menafield fight in their first fight. It went over. And then as far as Rodolfo Bellato, this guy I think is untrustworthy as well. Rodolfo Bellato, I think, is very chinny. It's not only in the Vitor Petrino fights, because he has 2 knockout losses and he's been knocked out both times by Vitor Petrino. But it's in other fights too, where he's eating some shots and he's wobbling around. He looks unstable on his feet. Ihor Potieria was piecing this guy up. Ihor Potieria won the first round easily against Bellato. And then Ihor Potieria hurts Bellato very badly in the second round, gets on top, lands some big shots. Looks like Bellato goes unconscious for a second. The fight could have been stopped. Yeah. Potieria gasses out, which is expected, and then Bellato gets on top. But like Rodolfo Bellato arguably could have lost to Ihor Potieria. So it's like, geez, I don't trust either one of these guys. And then on one hand, one of these guys is like minus 170. I think it should be just a pick 'em based off the fact that, both these guys, I couldn't trust it. I couldn't lay chalk on either one of these dudes. So, and I'm not. But I think violence is the way to go. Both these guys love to get finished. Both these guys, I think, are very chinny. Both these guys, solid offensive grapplers as well. I think somebody's getting served here, and this fight should be hilarious nonetheless.
Yeah, man. I picked Rodolfo Bellato as the ass shaving of the week when he fought Potieria. And yeah, man, like he lost that fight. That absolutely should have been stopped. He was in all kinds of trouble. But I don't remember if it was Beltran. I think it was Beltran, because he let it go and Potieria got tired and Bellato wound up getting the finish. But getting almost finished by Ihor Potieria in the UFC means that you're not somebody you want to be laying juice on. And then, oh God damn it, Jimmy Crute. I laid juice on Jimmy Crute against Anthony Smith. I had never been more confident in my life that he could easily take down Anthony Smith, who's got the worst takedown defense ever. Damir Hadzovic is teaching Anthony Smith takedown defense right now. And yeah, he winds up getting his calf shut down and loses the fight. He doesn't wrestle Hill until he gets caught, and he got caught quickly. So it wasn't even like I laid juice on him there. I lost like 3 units against Jamal Hill because I thought Jimmy was going to fight Jamal the same way he fought Oleg Sejcek. When he fought Oleg Sejcek, he shot a takedown in the first 3 seconds and chain wrestled until he got the submission. I don't know why you wouldn't do that against Anthony Smith. I don't know why you wouldn't do that against Jamal Hill. So yeah, with Crute, then all of a sudden, you knew he was talented, but you knew that the fight IQ wasn't there. He was going to make really bad decisions in the cage. And it's hard to back those kind of fighters. But I mean, I'm going to have a much harder time backing Rodolfo Bellato here, making the long trip to Australia to fight an Australian. Crute's fought the way better level of competition. I mean, like, Ihor Potierier's 2-6 in the UFC. If you add up the guys that Crute's fought in the UFC, they got combined records of 71-64. He's fought the way better level of competition. I think Jimmy's the much better minute winner and moment winner in the grappling exchanges of this fight. I mean, he's just proven it against higher level competition. And Jimmy's no slouch on the feet. Both of these guys have sub 50% distance striking defense. Both of these guys hit hard. So maybe we're just looking for violence here because Crute's been finished in all 4 of his losses. Bellato's been finished in both of his losses. And both of these guys have good finish rates. 75% for Crute as a pro And Crute has finished all 4 of his UFC wins. And Bellato's got, he's finished 11 of 12 wins as a pro. So what do we got for an under 1.5 right now?
Yeah, the under 1.5 is plus 115 right now. The over is 145.
It's not bad. Let me look at my over-under betting model here.
It's not bad.
Okay, so this is interesting. These guys have had 16 fights finish in their career, right? Out of the 17 total fights, 14 of those 16 have ended under 1.5 rounds. So they're very front-loaded. And at the UFC level, 9 of their 10 combined fights have finished inside the distance, but 7 of those 9 finished in the first round and a half. So my model likes the under 1.5 at plus 130. It has it as a trifecta bet. And I think stylistically, I think it lines up pretty well as well. So yeah, under 1.5 at plus 130 looks good to me.
Yep, I don't mind it. I absolutely think there's a finish. Does it come before 7.5 minutes? Yeah, potentially. But yeah, I'm very confident we get a finish in this one. In terms of the money line, like I said, I can't. Minus 170 on Bellato. It's disgusting, dude. He opened up minus 300 even. Jimmy Crute opened up plus 240. He's currently plus 145. Probably a talker pass, but I doubt I get to a bet here on either of these guys. I can't do it. I don't think I can do it. But if I did, it'd probably be on Crute. But geez,
Agreed.
I don't know.
Yeah. But like if I were to lose money on Crute, this would be like the 3rd time, Brady. And you can't lose money on the same fighter 3 different times. It's mentally bad.
True. At least we're not laying juice on him this time around.
Mm-hmm. That's
and
true.
I'll tell you right now, Jamal Hill and Anthony Smith at the time, right? A lot better than Rodolfo Bellato.
Hell, Alonzo Menafield would beat 7 shades of shit out of Bellato too.
Alonzo, they wouldn't sanction that fight.
Yeah.
They wouldn't sanction that one. Oh, God. Could you imagine?
That would be a beatdown.
Might lose his head.
Yeah.
I don't hate the under.
It moved from 130 to 110, I see, but still it's a pretty good price at where it's at right now.
Yeah. Pateria almost killed Bellato, but then Pateria did what Pateria does. It gets finished. Yeah. Yep. He was so close to finishing Bellato. So close. Another ref might stop the fight. Come on, Brady. One more ride. One more ride with Jimmy Crute. It'll be his retirement fight. Go out with a bang. Did he say that it's one and done? One more? Did he say that?
Oh, I don't. Dude, this kid's only 28.
I know.
Who retires from anything? I mean, like, if you were going to retire at 28, you have to be successful. You can't lose 3 fights and have a draw in your last 4 and be like, I'm retiring.
It's crazy, dude.
What's plan B, Jimmy?
Me and Crute have lots in common. We both love getting finished by other men.
Hey-oh.
Wait. What? How could you word that? How could you word that wrong? What'd you get wrong in there? It seemed like a pretty straightforward statement to me on your end. Yeah, he retired. He said, I'm done.
Yeah.
He said, no more. My heart is with Crute, but don't bet. Yeah, but sometimes, Wheezy, the hardest bets are the bets that you don't want to make. Like, oh, do I want to bet on Luana Carolina against Ivana Petrovic? No, but she's plus 180. Do I want to bet Victoria Leonardo against Mandy Bum? Not really, but she's plus 120. So sometimes the toughest bets are the best bets. The best bets.
Hey, I had a hard time pulling the trigger on Merab at plus 250 because he was fighting an undefeated Dagestani kid that had, the right last name, the right pedigree, all the aura. It was a tough click, but it cashed.
Yeah. I'd rather bet on Greyhound. Oh, jeez. Oh, yeah. It's one of those. Yeah.
Remember when Crute lost to Jamal Hill, and I was furious because now that's like 6 units over the last 2 fights that I had laid juice on Crute and lost. He had that nasty black eye that had already showed up like 10 seconds after he got hit.
Yeah.
And he had that dumbass mullet. And when he fought Hill, And so I took that picture and I zoomed in on the mullet and the black eye of Crute standing there while they're raising Hill's hand. And I said, this is what bad fight IQ looks like. And it was the picture of Crute with the mullet and the black eyes sulking.
Wow. That's hilarious.
I don't know when that fight was. It was like 4 years ago. But if you go far enough back into my Twitter timeline, you'll find it.
I found it.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I'm good at finding things.
I was drunk. I was angry. I was out like 3.5 units. And that's what I posted.
Can I read it word for word?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is back in 2021. He says, this is what bad fight IQ looks like. My betting IQ is even worse for betting on him not once, but twice in the last 2 events. Never again. Imagine not trying to take down Jamal Hill in the first 10 seconds. If Jimmy Crute's fight IQ was a hairstyle, it would be a mullet.
I was so mad at him.
Wow. Dang, you got a lot of likes on it.
I never went off on a fighter that bad since, because I feel it's just in bad taste to do it.
Yeah.
Because Jimmy Crute would murder me inside of 30 seconds with his bare hands. But I was just so mad at him for not shooting a takedown right away against Hill.
Yeah. No, his fight IQ is terrible, dude. He's taking Crute. Fool me once, shame on you. Yeah, you said never again in the tweet.
I did say never again.
Let's see if you bet him at like plus 150 this time around. It's tempting. It's tempting because I don't see
tempting.
how
Really
either one of these goofballs should be a favorite. You know, we're talking goofballs. These guys are goofballs, in my opinion.
Yeah, they are.
You almost get finished by Pateria. You're a goofball.
Yep.
You retire after 28 years old. You're a goofball. So I don't know, but interesting fight, I suppose. All right, let's move on to this next fight. Another interesting fight. Another fight that's kind of shocking to see on a pay-per-view card, but in terms of entertainment value, I see why they're doing it, because somebody's probably going to die here. Justin Tafa going against Tallison Teixeira. Now, Justin Tafa, 31 years old, 6 foot, with a 74-inch reach. Tallison Teixeira, 25 years old, 6'7", with an 83-inch reach. Teixeira, 6 years younger, 7-inch height advantage, and a 9-inch reach advantage. Justin Tafa, 3-1 and 1 no contest his last 5 fights. A knockout win against Harry Hunsucker, a knockout win against Parker Porter, no contest against Austin Lane, knockout win against Austin Lane, and then a decision loss to Carl Williams. As far as Tallison Teixeira, 5-0 in his last 5 fights, all by knockout, all in the first round. So I'm excited about this fight because I'm a big fan of violence, and I don't see how this fight is not violent. Tallison Teixeira is massive. He's going to have a massive height advantage, a massive reach advantage. Both these guys want to do the same exact thing. So Teixeira, he does have a BJJ black belt. I think he does have a submission on his record, but I think it was one of maybe his first fight. I think it was a submission off his back. I wasn't able to watch the fight, but every fight I watched, I really just saw him swinging dicks in it. And that's exactly what Justin Tafa wants to do. So I think we're going to get a very fun fight here. I remember researching Teixeira for his Contender Series fight. He was fighting Arthur Lopez. And Arthur Lopez, I've seen in the past that he could be taken down. He's been submitted in his only loss. And I thought, hey, Teixeira being a BJJ black belt, we might see him go out there and maybe try to grapple. But that was absolutely not the case. Teixeira went out there and literally just swung and banged with this guy, Arthur Lopez. And Arthur Lopez was landing some big shots on Teixeira. Teixeira was doing the whole eat one to give one type thing on him. And he showed a good chin because he ate a bunch of bombs from the guy. And then eventually he knocked out Arthur Lopez cold. It was a brutal knockout win. I think somebody's getting served here. Both these guys, they hit like trucks. I think these guys are going to stand and bang until one man falls. I don't think it's going to be like that BS Pavlovich-Rosenstruck fight we saw last night. Both these guys, they are going to come for blood. So, yeah, I think this fight's going to finish. And this fight is so violent, Wheezy, that they didn't even bother putting out a total. Because why would you bother? Because this fight's going under.
Yeah. The risk management team at Bet Online right now is confused on where to open this. And they're like, can we open this at under 0 point? I think we might see the first ever 0.5 round over under for Bet Online. And I think I just solved a serious problem for their risk management team over there. Because, yeah, it's the only over under that they haven't opened. And Evan, in the chat is saying Tafa has dirt on Dana White. And it's funny because the way I wanted to analyze this fight was to read off Justin Tafa has had 9 UFC fights, right?
Oof.
Listen to these names, Brady.
Okay.
Yorgan de Astro.
Oh.
Juan Adams.
Oh.
Carlos Felipe.
Mm.
The 1-6 Jared Vandera.
Oh.
Harry Hunsucker.
Oh.
Parker Porter.
Oh.
Austin Lane.
Oh.
And then they had to do it again. So Austin Lane.
Oh.
And then he fights Carl Williams, who's actually a pretty good fighter, right?
He got cut though.
But they cut him. Like, who's left? Is Austin Lane still in the UFC? Because if he's not,
he is.
There's nobody left.
Austin Lane just got a win against that big dude, Despain.
Okay, all right. Oh, that's right. That's right. So yeah, if Austin Lane's the only guy left, this guy has fought the worst. Like he'd get tougher fights in street beefs. You know, so like,
they're tough there. They're tough in street beefs. Some tough guys.
Yeah, dude. And you know what? He's lost to some of these guys. He got knocked out by Yorgan de Castro.
Oh,
he lost a decision to Carlos Felipe. He lost to Jared Vandera, the guy who's 1-6 in the UFC. That one win came over who? Justin Tafa. I mean, like, he lost to Carl Williams. He got taken down 7 times. Like, if you can't beat Justin Tafa, you don't belong here. And even the guys who beat Justin Tafa aren't good enough to stay here. So this guy Teixeira is a good prospect. You know, he's massive for the division. He has a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. How old is he? He's only 25 years old, Brady. You can't teach height. You can't teach reach. You know, you just can't. So he's got natural gifts. He's very young for a heavyweight. But the problem is that his entire mixed martial arts career has lasted 13 minutes. You know, and I've never seen him get a takedown. And from what I saw in that Arthur Lopez fight, I mean, Arthur Lopez is a light heavyweight. He weighed in at 213. 213 for that fight. Justin Tafa's a 300-pound Samoan with bricks for hands. If you get hit by Tafa the way that Lopez was hitting Teixeira, it's nighty-night. Keep your butthole tight. It's over, dude. You know, so I mean, this is a really interesting fight because we're going to find out a little bit about Tallison Teixeira. First of all, he has to make the long trip to Australia to fight an Australian. That's not good. Second of all, this dude is pretty hittable. You know, I mean, he manages range all right with those kicks, but I mean, this guy was eating flush shots from Arthur Lopez. He showed off a really good chin, but I mean, if Tafa hits you like that, this guy's got bricks for hands. He's got a 100% finish rate in his wins. So, yeah, man, this is a wild one. Like, I was surprised to see Teixeira only -150 because I know that Tafa only fights bottom of the barrel guys, and he can't even fight half of the bottom, or can't even beat half of the bottom of the barrel guys that he's been in there against. And Teixeira is a real talent, only 25 years old, 6'7", 83-inch reach, BJJ black belt, real power on the feet in his own right. But this is going to be a good test for him. We got to find out more about this kid.
I don't think we're going to learn much because I just don't envision this fight lasting too long. Like, as soon as the fight starts, Teixeira is just going to push forward and start swinging those big, long arms, and Justin Tafa is going to oblige. Justin Tafa,
yeah, he is.
Heck yeah, let's swing. Let's swing.
That's what he wants. He wants to counter you in that pocket, and I think Teixeira is going to give him what he wants. That's what's scary here. I mean, he's going to have to show some brains in this fight because Tafa's got a giant hole in the grappling game here, and Teixeira better try and exploit it, because if he's not, he's taking a massive risk getting into the pocket with this dude.
Yeah, I didn't see any grappling. The only time I saw him even remotely get close to any type of grappling, he was actually getting controlled against the cage for about 2-3 minutes, and he looked kind of rough there. But yeah, if he can get on top of Tafa somehow, I mean, he's going to destroy him. I mean, Tafa's ground game is terrible, but the question is he going to do that? Is he going to swing dicks? Is the question. But yeah, I don't know. Tafa is a dog. He opened up plus 210. Wow. He opened up plus 210. He's now plus 132. Teixeira opened up minus 250, currently minus 152. So Teixeira actually opened up a bigger favorite. The lines came in. The over-under is not available because, like I said, there's no point in opening it, I guess. I mean, what are they going to do? Make it minus 300, minus 400? We could see the most juiced under ever. Because yep.
Minus 350?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because when Justin wins fights, every win has been in the first round for Justin in the UFC. Austin Lane, first round knockout. Parker Porter, first round knockout. Hunsucker, first round knockout. All he does is win in the first round. And then as far as Teixeira, same thing. Same thing. So yeah, I think violence is the answer here, but I have a feeling the under is going to be the most juice under we've seen ever. And like you said, we see, why not set it at 0.5? Why not? The first over under set at 0.5. I could see it.
If the risk management department of Bet Online is listening right now, I guarantee when I said that, they're like, that's what we do. That's what we do. We set it at 0.5 because they don't want to set it at minus 500. But I'm telling you that they might open it there.
Yeah.
If I were on the risk management department, I wouldn't want any underexposure in this fight.
Yeah. No, agreed. A murderer is real. Yeah. I mean, Harry Hunsucker, he's pretty good.
Oh God.
Jared Vandera, very good. Very good. Don't my Parker. I know people are a big fan of him, but yeah, he's actually doing a bare knuckle boxing. I think he's 1-0 in bare knuckle. So shout out to Parker Porter, made his debut. Looked in incredible shape. Parker Porter looked in incredible shape. Good for him. He lost. It looked like he lost like 60 pounds. To be honest, he did still weigh in. He looked in phenomenal shape.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good for him.
Good. Yeah.
The only grappling Tafa does is with Jessica Andrade OnlyFans pictures. Oh, and by the way, that jackass on Twitter tagged us in another naked Jessica Andrade picture like last week.
Yeah, I know, dude. I know.
What an asshole.
I know. And I couldn't get it off my timeline either. It really put me on tilt.
Yeah, it was the one where she didn't have the rose in her mouth, I don't think, but yeah, it was rough. So yeah, whoever's doing that needs to knock it off. Was that real? Was that really you? Marcel Selly-Wop Breezy, get some help, or you'll hear from my lawyer. Because I don't want to see that. I mean, nobody deserves to see that. Nobody wants to see Jessica Andrade's put.
Just stop it. Just stop it.
Just stop. Just stop. For the love of God. For the love of God. For the love of God.
We deserve better than this, you know? All we do is give here. All we do is give. We do free shows for you people, and you send us what? Naked pictures of Jessica Andrade? Stop it. Stop it.
It's disgusting.
Stop it.
It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody
blocked and reported next time.
Yeah. It's gross. It's disgusting. It's inhumane. Quite frankly, it's inhumane. All right, let's move on to the next fight. And by the way, we have over 500 viewers once again. Let's stay above that 500 mark. Stay above it. Nobody would love that. Not even the sickest. Lusa Soli is the sickest person I know.
Yeah,
Shout out to Lusa Soli. He's sick.
Yeah.
He's sick. Even Lusa Soli wouldn't like something like that. Even Lusa Soli wouldn't. And Lusa's a sick guy. He's a great follow. but he's
He's a
posting
great
the most.
follow, but that picture would not even earn a "hear me out" from Lucis Soli.
Even Lucis Soli wouldn't glance at that. That's how you know it's bad. That's how you know it's bad. Even Lucis Soli, who's a sick man, wouldn't glance at something like that. All right, let's move on to the next fight, Weezy. We got Jean. We're having fun here. You got to have fun, right? We got to cover all angles. Got to have fun. And this fight's going to be fun. We got Zhang Weili going against Tatiana Suarez. We got Zhang Weili, 35 years old, 5'4", with a 63-inch reach. Tatiana Suarez, 34 years old, 5'5", with a 66-inch reach. Suarez, 1 year younger. Suarez with a 1-inch height advantage. Suarez with a 3-inch reach advantage. Zhang Weili, 4-1 in her last 5 fights. A decision loss to Rose Namajunas. Knockout win against Yana Jędrzejczyk. Submission win against Carla Esparza. A decision win against Amanda Lemos. And then a decision win against Yan Xiaonan. As far as Tatiana, 5-0 in her last 5 fights. A submission win against Alexa Grasso. A knockout win against Carla Esparza. Decision win against Nina Ansaroff. A submission win against Montana De La Rosa and Jessica, speak of the devil, Jessica Andrade. I love this fight, Weezy, but at the same time, I hate it. I hate it. The reason I hate it is because these are my 2 favorite strawweight fighters. I'm a big, giant fan of Zhang Weili. And I'm also a big, giant fan of Tatiana Suarez. I've always felt that Tatiana Suarez was the dark horse in the division. The problem with Tatiana is she rarely fights, and when she does, she looks very dominant, very good. But she doesn't fight, man. Her 5 fights ago was 6 years and 8 months ago against Alexa Grasso, a win that aged very well. After that, 6 years and 4 months ago is against a Carla Esparza. After that, 5 years and 7 months ago is against Nina Nunes. She takes 4 years off. 4 years off. Apparently, she was dealing with like some major health issues, ton of injuries. 4 years off. She comes back against Montana De La Rosa, and I had a bet on Suarez in that fight inside the distance. And I'm watching that fight, and she looked a little off in my opinion. She looked, maybe there's some cage rust or whatever, but she ended up finishing De La Rosa, so I was able to cash my bet. But I didn't love how she really looked. And then she just runs through Jessica Andrade, which is a great win. So, yeah, I mean, Tatiana Suarez, she's battled some injuries. She's battled some health things throughout her career. She's now 34 years old at this point, but she's still going to be the younger fighter here. I don't believe she's ever been in a 5-round fight. So, yeah, it's a very interesting fight. I hate it, but I love it, and I hate it because I got to pick against one of these fighters, Weezy. What are your thoughts on this one here?
Yeah, Tatiana's been through a lot, man. I mean, she's a cancer survivor. She's had so many injuries, so many layoffs. Her career for MMA has been 10 years and 6 months, and in that time, she's only fought 10 times. And I don't know if she's a 2-time cancer survivor, because I seem to remember when she was in the UFC, or she was in the Tough House, right? I seem to remember when she was in the Tough House, them talking about the reason she didn't win like an Olympic medal in wrestling or something was because of that she was battling cancer, or maybe it was injuries, whatever it was. Tatiana's had problems. I mean, like injuries and health concerns. But when she walks into that cage, she's completely unbeatable. She's 10-0 as a professional. She's never really been close to losing any fights that I can remember.
2 times.
God damn it. Really? 2 times at her age? She's only 34 years old. You know, that's awful that she's had to go through that. So Tatiana Suarez, for being a 2-time cancer survivor and having like several difficult knee injuries, I mean, she's still the baddest woman in the entire weight class. But I don't think I'm going to be gambling on this fight, dude. You know, I think Suarez is still a massive question mark. Not her talent, not her in-fight skills, but like the fact that she's 34 and she's only fought 10 times in the last 11 years, and that, you know, there's obviously been a lot of wear and tear on this body of hers, and she's fighting Weili Zhang, who's just an absolute killer. So I'm going to just probably sit back and watch this fight because, like you said, these are the 2 best strawweights on the planet. Period. Yeah. So I can't wait to see this fight. This is as high level as women's mixed martial arts gets. And Tatiana Suarez, she's healthy right now. She's ready to go. So I can't wait to see finally Tatiana get in there against the best in the world and give her the opportunity that she's been fighting for 34 years to get, whether it be wrestling for the Olympic team, whether it be in the UFC. She's always been the best, and she's had almost no opportunities to prove it. Now she finally fucking gets to prove it. I think that everybody was just waiting for her to be healthy to get this title shot, because everybody knows it doesn't matter who you put in front of her. She's going to get to Wei Li at some point, you know? So just while she's healthy, she's already 34. She's got to do it now. She has to go now, Brady. She's got to win this fight. She's come too far and she's fought too hard to get to this point. I think Tatiana should win this fight because she's probably the best I've ever seen do it. It's just we don't get to see her do it enough.
Yeah. If she wins this fight, how do you think it happens? Do you think it's a decision, a sub? Because I worry about the cardio of Tatiana across 5 rounds. Because she did look like she was slowing against Montana a little bit.
That is an excellent point, because if she cannot get Wei Li out of there, and she's finishing some of these fights with guillotines, you know, which means that she might be on her back too. That could be a problem for a wrestler, but she's got really good Brazilian jiu-jitsu too. Yeah, I mean, really 2 knockouts, 3 decisions, 5 submissions. She can get it done in a variety of ways, but we know that her grappling is elite.
Yeah, no, it's really good. So I was kind of thinking if Tatiana wins, maybe she's catching Zhang Wei Li in a sub early on.
Probably.
Yeah. Yep. So this is one I do want to look into a lot more. My initial thoughts on it are, the layoffs of Tatiana throughout her career is definitely a concern. The 5-round nature is definitely a concern. I think the striking is heavily in favor of Zhang Wei Li, but Tatiana Suarez is very physically strong, great wrestler, and just a phenomenal grappler. So I think she is live for that early sub. Zhang Wei Li opened up minus 250. Currently minus 110. Tatiana Suarez opened up plus 210, minus 110. I think this line's going to flip. See a ton of people on Suarez, and it looks like the line is trending in that direction. So I do expect this line to flip, and I expect Zhang Wei Li to be the dog, which is interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I'm probably with you in terms of probably not touching it from a money line standpoint, because, like I said, I don't want to really bet against either one of the. Like, how can you bet against Zhang Wei Li? I can't. How can you bet against Tatiana? I don't really want to. So I might just be one I sit back and enjoy. And I have been losing money on Zhang Wei Li fights lately, Wheezy. Shout out to Jason Herzog. Yan Xiaonan is the first fighter in UFC history to win a fight by decision, knockout, and submission. Zhang Wei Li submits Yan Xiaonan, I believe it is the 2nd round, right?
Yes.
She goes out cold, and then Jason Herzog actually wakes her up. And then Jason Herzog helps her up and takes her to the corner. I'm like, what are you doing, Herzog? That's a sub. She was out cold. You can't take a fighter to their corner. So yeah, should have subbed her. And then I think it was the 3rd round. Zhang Wei Li has Yan Xiaonan flattened out. And then, like Herzog fashion, move fighter. And then like 50 unanswered shots. Should have been a TKO. And I had a big bet on Zhang Wei Li inside the distance. So shout out once again to Jason Herzog. Stop a damn fight. So yeah, should be a good one here for sure.
And Brady, I forgot to bring up one thing when we talked about the very first fight of the night. If you guys want to watch the worst referee stoppage of all time, watch Hyun-Sung Park versus Ju Hwan Kim. Kim gasses in the 2nd round, Brady. And he's getting 7 shades of shit beaten out of him. And he's trying to quit, right? So he's getting knocked down over and over again. And Park keeps standing back up and telling him to get back up, right? Ju Hwan Kim refuses to get up after he gets knocked down. The referee tells him to get up. He doesn't get up. So the referee picks him up. I am not lying.
Wow.
Picks up Ju Hwan Kim, stands him up on his feet, and then Park jumps in with a flying knee and just ends this kid. And I'm telling you, like 90 to 120 seconds before this kid gets knocked out, he's begging for the door, and the referee will not stop it. and the referee actually picked him up off the floor so that he could get brutally knocked out. Ju-Hwan Kim versus Hyun-Sung Park. That fight took place in 2021, December 30th. Worst New Year's Eve ever for Ju-Hwan Kim.
Jeez, yeah. New Year's Eve is supposed to be you have a good time with your family and friends, but he spent the night in the hospital, huh? The next week in the hospital, probably. Jeez.
It was bad.
Yeah. Crazy. Jason Herzog had the decision prop. That's the only explanation. I mean, she got tapped out, and she didn't tap. She fell asleep, and then she got pounded out. It was crazy. Oh no, Jason O'Neill got hacked. That's not good.
Oh no, that's not good.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, she got pounded out. Right? Yeah.
She did. She was like this. He got finished all three ways. I mean, like, it was a decision that she had to be held up. Like, Herzog was holding her up for after the 25 minutes, while they were reading off the decision. And yeah, she got a submission and a knockout too. It was crazy.
And I also had fight doesn't go in the Lemos fight.
I know.
The fight almost ends instantly in the first round, and then Zhang really proceeds to beat the brakes off of Lemos the next 20 minutes, and it goes to decision. Like, jeez.
The last 22 minutes was DC and Bisping going, "How tough is Amanda Lemos?"
She's so tough. Oh, talk about bad beats. Jeez. Oh, yeah, right. You brought up two insane names and expect people to type that in. You guys can find it. Find it. You're a sick man, Evan. I'd get some counseling. I'd get some counseling, man. We got Justin with the $4.99. Appreciate you, Justin. With the $4.99. Yeah, I do want to shout. We got a couple donos tonight. We got Bub Collins with the $1.99. Yes. We got our guy Avery Marino, and hit up the Cash App. Appreciate you, Avery. We got Justin with a couple donos. Appreciate you, Justin. We also got Paku, who is heading to the fights this weekend. So thank you all you guys. And thank all you guys watching as well. If you guys could hit the like button. You guys have been killing it on the likes tonight. And it feels good to be back. It feels good to not compete with the NFL. I love it. Yeah. I love it. We like to have fun. We like to cover all angles. All angles. All right. Main event time. We got Dricus du Plessis going against Sean Strickland. We got Dricus du Plessis, 31 years old, 6'1" with a 76-inch reach. Sean Strickland, 33 years old, 6'1" with a 76-inch reach. Dricus, 2 years younger, same height, same age. Or same height, same reach. Dricus is 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Submission win against Darren Till. Knockout win against Derek Brunson. Knockout win against Robert Whitaker. Decision win against Sean Strickland. And a submission win against Israel Adesanya. As far as Strickland, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. A decision win against Nazardine Imavov. A knockout win against Abus Magomedov. Decision win against Adesanya. Decision loss against Dricus. And then a decision win against Paulo Costa. So when this fight originally happened, believe it or not, I didn't get to watch it. I'm not sure what the heck I was doing, but it must have been something important to miss this fight. But yeah, I didn't get to watch it, so I watched it for the first time today. And yeah, I thought it was a very, very close fight. A very, very close fight. I did end up scoring the fight for Dricus, but yeah, very close fight nonetheless. I think I scored the first round for Sean Strickland. He outlanded Dricus 34-18. I scored the second round. I thought it was a pretty clear Dricus. Dricus outlanded Strickland 26-22. Also landed a takedown, landed some nice shots. I think even cut open Strickland. And then I think the fight probably came down to round 3, which was the closest fight or closest round of the fight. Strickland outlands Dricus 31-29, but Dricus probably lands the bigger shots, and Strickland's bleeding. I think the optics sway that round to the judges, and I also scored the round for Dricus, so I have it 2-1 for Dricus going into the 4th. In the 4th round, I scored it for Dricus as well. Very close striking numbers. Strickland 33, Dricus 29, but Dricus also lands 3 takedowns in that round. I give it to Dricus, so I have Dricus up 3-1 going into the 5th, and then the 5th round I thought was a pretty clear Sean Strickland, where Strickland outlands Dricus 53-35, actually landing some pretty good shots there. So I had it 3-2 in favor of Dricus du Plessis, but I think it all came down to how he kind of scored that third round. You look at the striking numbers as a whole in terms of the fight. Sean Strickland outlanded Dricus 173 to 137 insignificant strikes. The problem with that number is there's a big difference between a Sean Strickland significant strike and a Dricus significant strike. And like I said, Sean Strickland was also cut open. I think it had a lot to do with it. And Dricus did land six takedowns. But overall, I thought the fight looked like minus 110 each way. I thought it was a very, very close fight. The fight ended up being a split decision. You could have made a case for Sean Strickland winning that fight. So I'm looking at the line here, and it's like Dricus minus 210, Strickland plus 180. I don't think Dricus is going to have any success, holding down Sean Strickland. I mean, he did it in the first fight at all. Sean Strickland popped back up every single time. I think these two are going to strike for 25 minutes for the most part, and it should be competitive once more. You got to believe. So, yeah, I'm confused at these odds. Like, what's happened? What's really changed since their last fight? I mean, Dricus did sub Adesanya. That's good. Strickland beat Paulo Costa by decision, but what's really changed in like the last fight? I don't know. So this line, I just feel it's probably wide, and I just see this fight playing out very, very competitively once again. Wheezy, what are your thoughts for this one here?
Yeah, I mean, I think you broke it down perfectly in that this fight was very close the first time. So it's odd to see somebody in Dricus who's, he's 3 years younger, but I don't really see a big career trajectory difference between these two guys right now. Sean Strickland is fighting at an extremely high level. Win over Imavov, win over Magomedov, beats Israel Adesanya, loses that split decision to Dricus, and he wins a split decision over Costa. But what was wrong? What happened there? That fight wasn't close, was it?
It was not close. I think I had Sean Strickland 4-1, and you can make a case for 5-0.
Yeah, because like I looked at the scorecards and I was like, I don't really remember the fight very well, but it was 50-49 or 50-45, 49-46, and then the other judge had it 49-46 for Costa, and I'm like, what fight was that dude watching?
Yeah.
But either way, you usually don't see the rematch taking place like the first fight did, but the thing about Sean Strickland is that he always fights the same, and same thing with Dricus. He fights the same in that you just never know what the hell the guy's going to do. He's a wild man out there. And he's just everyone talks about how bad he is, because he's not very technical. It looks like he's taking big breaths out of his mouth, but Dricus's fight style wins for him. I mean, he's 22-2. I think the only two losses are to Soldich, right? Or no, I think he lost once to Soldich. And I don't remember where the other loss was.
It was a while ago.
Like really long time ago, like to the point where it doesn't even matter anymore. So, yeah, I think it's an interesting fight. Somebody said in the chat something about like the reason that Strickland doesn't grapple anymore is because the motorcycle accident wrecked his legs. And I believe that. I really do believe that, because I think he could have easily grappled against Israel Adesanya if he wanted to, made that look easy. He could have grappled against Alex Pereira and chose not to. I don't think he can wrestle anymore, period. I don't even think he's capable of getting a takedown. So I think that, du Plessis, because of that, has the grappling upside here. And he's done a good job of winning minutes in the grappling exchanges. And Sean just mostly stays standing. 85% of his cage time has been at distance striking range. So, and du Plessis got the heavier hands, plain and simple. He lands the bigger shots. And because he doesn't really slow down, I don't know if Strickland's pressure is going to get to him, because I think that's where Strickland does his best work, is the fact that the pressure never stops, that he really wins those late rounds at a really high clip, because moving backwards is just exhausting, and Sean makes you do that for the full 25 minutes. So I think that this is one rematch where you're probably going to see a very similar fight to what the first one was. And in that case, you got to kind of think that the value's on Strickland at this price.
Yeah, I just can't imagine this fight not being very, very competitive. Yeah, I think it's a very, very competitive fight. I don't see what's changed since their last outing. So Dricus opened up minus 145, which I think makes a lot more sense. And now he's minus 210. Sean Strickland opened up plus 125, currently plus 180. The over-under set at 4.5 rounds. The over 4.5 is minus 170. The under 4.5 is plus 140. The first time these guys fought, Weezy, the over-under was set at 2.5. Now is at a pick 'em. Now we got the 4.5. The over 4.5 is minus 170. And I'm all for Dricus violence, but it's also a Sean Strickland fight, and Sean Strickland fights do not produce violence at all.
Yeah, and Strickland's very durable.
Yep.
So yeah, and he doesn't have a ton of power.
Yep. Both guys very durable. So I kind of see this going 25 once more.
Yeah, my model does too, Brady. My model indicates that of their 10 fights that have been scheduled for 5 rounds in the UFC, 8 of those 10 have seen the scorecards. But at fight goes to decision at minus 175, we're only paying 63%. So my model shows a little bit of value, and I think stylistically this one goes the distance as well.
Yep. I agree. Teep jab. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Bet the over on significant strikes for DDP. Fairly easy bet. I would tend to agree. Let's see where they open that up. I think there's gonna be a lot of strikes. I mean, there's a ton of strikes in their first fight, right? Like Sean Strickland landed 173. Dricus landed 137. If Strickland forces DDP to work early, it'll pay off. Yeah, I think so. Strickland, I think he should have pressured a lot more in that fight early on. It seemed like he didn't really start putting on the pressure till kind of later. He was still coming forward and all that, but I would like to see a little bit more pressure. A little more of a car crash would have been fun. I think DDP wins, but this line is so wide. Depends on who refs the bout. Hopefully it's not actually I don't think it matters who refs this bout. Dricus will be gassed. He'll look gassed.
Yeah, he'll fight through it.
He won't be gassed. He'll look tired in the first round, but he can go 25 minutes, no problem. Brady, it's been a minute. What is up, Chase? Good to see you. Let's see. Was Sean's cut in the last fights from a head clash? I don't remember. I don't remember. I don't think so.
I'll go back and watch it.
Yeah. I watched the fight, but I forget. I literally watched it today, so probably should know that. Sean plus they have lines out already? Sean
DraftKings does, yes.
I like that a lot.
It's minus 135 now, but yeah.
Yeah, if it's a split decision, that's hitting, and I think it's a split. So yeah, I like the plus 5.5.
Agreed.
What if it's Gary Copeland's not it? Is he an officer?
I don't think so.
He's an officer of steroids, maybe. I mean, oh my gosh, that guy.
That dude's yoked.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was a head clash. Oh,
yeah,
okay. And I think that head clash might have won Dricus the fight, to be honest. Let's see. He rammed his head. He ran with that battering ram. PED Copeland. Shout out to Gary Copeland. All right. Wheezy, we did it. We went through all 13 fights. I think this card's fun. I think it's a very fun card. Very interesting card. I think we're going to have a ton of fun fights. But what we're going to do now is we're going to do the Stat Diggers Parlay. We've had 3 cards this year. We are 2-1 in the Stat Diggers Parlay. The one leg that didn't come through was we lost the under in the Carlson Harris Ponzinibbio fight by like 30 seconds. So yeah, we're 2-1, hit the one last week, and it's time to hit another. So let's go kind of through one by one here. So Hyun-Sung Park, you're on Tumendemberel, so we're not going to touch him.
Yeah.
I like Salkilld, but I don't like him at minus 550. Kevin Jousset, minus 240, not too high on. I think Cody Steele is somebody we can maybe throw in there. We both like him quite a bit.
Agreed.
He's minus 240. Yeah. Alexandre Topuria, minus 550. Get out. Cong Wang, minus 500. Get out. I don't want to take anybody in the Slava Nolan fight. Gabriel Santos Jenkins, no thank you. Jake Matthews could be a potential piece at minus 210. Bellato, minus 170. No. Tallison Teixeira, minus 150. Zhang Wei Li Suarez, nah. Duplessis, minus 210. No. So I think the two we probably like the most might be Matthews and
Matthews
Steele.
And Steele. And I wouldn't mind maybe an under 1.5 for Crute. Let me see if there's any overs or unders here.
I like the under in the Tafa to Sheriff fight. They just haven't gotten enough.
Yeah, they haven't put. Yeah, it's probably be minus 1,000.
Yes.
Yeah, the under 1.5 is minus or plus 110 for Jimmy Crute right now. That's a little bit. I'd like some more meat on the bone there. Don't necessarily mind an over for the Strickland Duplessis fight.
Yeah.
But I definitely want Cody Steele's money line in that parlay.
Yeah,
I think he's gonna dick saw this dude.
We could put Steele in there. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
And then we could go maybe Jake Matthews. Maybe we could go an over in the Strickland fight. Maybe there's an under that we like somewhere.
Well, let's see what is Matthews Steele plus money. It's plus money. Matthews and Steele.
Matthews and Steele. Yeah, I think Matthews Prado making the long trip, going up a weight class against a better grappler.
Those would be the two money lines I'd parlay.
Yeah, and I haven't had the best luck with over-unders lately, so let's do that. Let's hit Steele minus 225, Matthews minus 210. That comes out to plus 113.
Okay. There we go. That is the Stat Diggers, the Avery Marino Stat Diggers parlay of the week. Cong Wang plus Thicknesse. What could go wrong? A lot could go wrong.
A lot.
With that. Crute in the Stat Diggers parlay. I mean, I might bet him.
I might, yeah. After I said never again.
Oh, God. Oh, we ripped on him a couple times bad, but yeah, might bet him at plus 150-ish. We'll see. We'll see.
I don't mind that line. You know, at plus money, it'll be easier to take if it didn't work out. You know,
and it always is. Like if the worst feeling is laying chalk on a fighter. Like if I laid chalk on Mike Davis last week, and I almost did. If I laid chalk on Mike Davis and he pulled guard in the first 10 seconds, I probably wouldn't be here right now on the show.
Yeah,
I probably wouldn't be here because my laptop would be in the Ohio River. I wouldn't have a laptop. I had to go to Best Buy and find one. So yeah, laying chalk and yeah on Jimmy Crute, it's not a great idea, but he's a dog, so I don't hate it. But yeah, we did it. Weezy, any final thoughts on the card, and also let the people know what you got going on for this week and where they can find you.
Find me on my YouTube channel, Uncle Weezy. You can find me on my Dub Club and my Patreon, where I do my probability stats and content package, where I have all my betting models, those stats you see up on the screen. 4 hours of subscriber-only content for every UFC card. Check all that stuff out. What am I doing guest-wise this week?
A guest appearance.
Yeah. I'm going to be on the Beat the Line broadcast this week with our guys Dravi and Key 3 and Picks by Pegasus. I'm going to do that for this pay-per-view card and do the usual content that I do on my channel and on the Patreon, looking to stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC 312 in Australia. And I got to get back on the winning ways, Brady. You and I, we both lost a couple of units on this last card. Got to get back in the black here this week.
And it all starts with 5 units. 5 units on Colby, Slickness, Thickness to win 20 units.
Let's go.
Our pockets are going to be thick after he comes through and finishes that bum Topuria in the second round.
The worst resume ever.
I'm just kidding. I am just kidding. Absolutely kidding. But yeah, should be a very fun card here. UFC 312. My full card breakdown and prediction video will be out tomorrow. There are 2 more fights that I need to look into more. I need to look into that co-main event with Tatiana Suarez, Zhang Wei Li. And then I think the Santos Jenkins fight I need to look into still. So yeah, that'll be out on Monday. And then Friday's the final thoughts. And then Saturday is the best bet show. Thank you all for hanging out. We had a ton of likes tonight. We didn't quite get 200, so I won't have to shove a needle inside of me. But we got 139, which is great.
Really good. And we still got 500 live viewers.
Yeah, 520.
Nice. Let's go.
Yeah. Heck yeah. So yeah, shout out to all you guys. Appreciate you so much. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Like on your way out, subscribe, and good luck for UFC 312. See you guys later.